Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the MGN podcast. This is episode 2 of the podcast, and well, we do have a returning guest right here, my boy, the legendary hip hop gamer. We also have BitCloud and the Messiah of Xbox, the homie Craig. Y'all already know what time it is, man. We back with another edition, and man, let me tell y'all right now, it's gonna be hype, son. So make sure you guys hit that like button. We do have a lot of topics to go over and everything. Hopefully you guys are doing extremely well. All right, so let's start off with the shout outs. Let's start off with the homie Ryan. Go ahead, Ryan, man. Take it away, man. Ryan, I guess go ahead, Craig. Go ahead, Craig.
Oh, hey, thanks for having me. Episode 2, appreciate it. Fans of all three of you all, and thanks for having me back. Shout out to the chat and to the new subs that have come aboard since I've been here last time. Appreciate you. Don't let you down. Shout out to everybody out there.
Oh man, anytime. Is everything good, guys? I want to make sure there's no echo or anything like that like the last time. Hopefully, I think everything is dope. Hip hop, the one and only. Let's get it popping, son.
No stranger to danger. Number one journalist. Quickly, I changed the game up. Hip hop gamer, we out here. MGN podcast. What up? What up? Shout to the chat. Love y'all. Let's get it, baby. Word up.
All right. Let's get it popping. Are we waiting on Ryan? So hip hop. I know.
Right, dropping bars.
Oh. What's up, Ryan? Say what's up to the chat, man. Let's get it popping, son.
Oh, you live? What's up? Big Cloud in the building. Let's go.
Get it. Gang, we out here. All right. Now, this is crazy right now, okay? This joint right here is crazy. The PS5 reveal event, okay? We know it got postponed because of the whole George Floyd situation. And you know what? That was very, very important that a lot of brands, jump on that situation, because I'm just tired of the situation going on in the world with police brutality and everything like that. So I respect that. Now, hip hop, I know everybody wants to know your thoughts, because everybody was waiting for a video from you regarding the whole PS5 event. So could you speak on the PS5 event and also a possible new date or what have you?
So first off, y'all can hear me clear? Like everything is good?
Yeah, you sound crystal. I'm gonna turn you up just a little bit.
All right, cool. I just want to make sure everything was good, because I had a fan on in the background. I didn't want to interfere. I didn't want to ruin your stream. Yeah. So the first thing is, it was great that they postponed it. You know what I'm saying? Big support of that. Like, that matters more. We all love games, but this is more important. So it's great that they postponed it. That's one. Secondly, I believe they put out a actual fund or something where there's a continuous support of these situations to fight against it, but also get more black creatives and stuff like that within Sony, and more attention to that as a normal basis, not just riding the wave and the trend of what's going on, but actually putting things in place to make things better, so we don't have to go through this again. So I commend them on those things. The video that I was going to put out, June 3rd for the sake of June 4th, because the way I had things set up in the go ahead that I got to put it out, because of the postponed date, you had to postpone like my video and stuff like that. Now, the new date, I know there was a rumor of it being June 12th. Now, if you remember, Marlon, when I was here before, what was the first date that I had said, actually? The first date that I said, from what I heard, was June 12th. Because it was supposed to be a day after EA's event, because there's something that EA is supposed to show where we get, which I think is supposed to be Battlefield 6, and you're supposed to get an extended look of it on the PlayStation side of things. That's just what I heard. That I wasn't confirming that. That's just something that I heard. So that's why I, put that out there. So June 12th, hopefully, that'll be the new date, or sometime soon in the week coming up. But the video that I got, I'm looking to put it out a day before the new date is announced directly from Sony. in terms of what I told you about a certain game that's supposed to be returning, and there was a website sent to me where they were said go to this website, and then after I went to the website, a lot of everything will start to make sense as things get explained.
Wait a minute. They said for you to fix your mic. I think they say you were a little loud. Okay, let me make some adjustments. Wait, your fan is off, or is it still on?
Hold up.
He sounds fine, guys. Is everything?
Let me know if we good now.
Are we good? Oh, he's good. All right, bet.
All right, cool. All right, bet.
Yeah. Okay. So the date, because I remember the last time when you were on here, you said June 12th, and it's funny because something popped up. I think it was on 4chan,
right.
with June 12th. And ironically, right. EA postponed the EA Play to right. the 18th because of what's going on. So I was like, what the heck? And then the games that they were saying that was supposed to be shown was kind of like crazy. And it sounded like an Xbox fanboy like put together that whole situation. I said, what the heck? I said, that's funny because hip hop said June 12th. And then all of a sudden now I'm seeing this June 12th leak all over the place. Now everybody retweeting it out on Twitter and everything. And I think June 12th is what, a Friday, or what day does that fall on?
Yes, it's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Friday coming up.
Yep. Friday coming up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would be a perfect time because George Floyd's memorial was like what, 2 days ago. So
yep. And you got to understand too of they definitely wanted to get the reveal event in terms of the games out the way before the 19th when Last of Us 2 dropped. But not only that, if you notice, everything is designed to work in unison. So let me give y'all information on how the industry works. So even though the industry competes against one another, they also work together in a lot of ways because at the end of the day, they serving the same audience. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has to have their time to shine, so they got to work together to make sure that happens and stuff like that. So with Madden 21 moving their reveal because that was supposed to be on the first, I think. Everybody is adjusting collectively. If you notice, everybody is moving accordingly collectively because there's a story that has to be told here, and on the back end there's business deals that was made too. So you can't just do something and it ain't right. You know what I'm saying? You got to make the adjustments accordingly because there's money involved on the back end. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But in terms of Sony themselves, I truly believe that whatever it is they do, it'll be done before Last of Us 2 come out.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking the same thing. Before I ask Hip Hop some more questions on that, Craig, do you have anything on the whole PS5 event situation, being delayed and also the new date?
No, I did hear you all. Shout out to you, Hip Hop Gamer. I listened to your one-on-one with Sick Humor last week, and your story was inspiring, man. We need definitely more men like you to keep it going. And you're gonna run into people that say you're nuts, you're crazy, but innovators always get that. The Wright brothers wanted to fly a plane. People said it was crazy. So so keep up the good work, man.
Wow, man. Yo, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's humbling to hear. Honored to talk to you too, man. And God bless you and your fam as well. And that's just humbling to hear, man. Thank you so much, bro.
No problem. Man. Keep up the good work. And but as far as the reveal event, I heard you all show earlier, before saying it was going to be after the EA event, which made a lot of sense. And because if they're going to have a continuation of what's going on, that does make sense to me. But yeah, I'm waiting on a press statement from Sony, maybe next Tuesday, the 9th, or this coming Tuesday, the 9th. I do think, I don't know. See, I would almost wait till after the Last of Us, because if you see these games running and they're going to be on the PS5, the Last of Us, you'd be like, well, this is kind of like popcorn without no butter on it. When you see what they're capable of doing with this PS5, but yeah, to me that does make sense. Sony's issue has been, and you guys mentioned this before a couple weeks ago. Hip Hop was Microsoft started the new generation at Jeff Keighley's Video Game Awards. They want this generation over. they don't care about it anymore.
Yeah.
The PlayStation community, they still had the Final Fantasy game coming. Nintendo had games coming, so they weren't ready to start this at all. And I'm hoping it's the 12th because I'm off. But so selfish reason, but I'm waiting on a press release from Sony, maybe on the 9th, that they're going to do something. Because I know once they really on Wednesday or Thursday of next week, that's when the hard promotion of The Last of Us Part 2 comes out. The interviews with the actors and actresses that did the motion, all that starts. So they're kind of up against the wall, but it's a good wall to be against. They got a whole lot to bring. So that's all I got on that.
All right, Ryan.
Okay, so
I know you got something to say, man.
Yeah, I would love to say June 12th. Y'all know me. I'll be quick to put out a video or a statement or stream. Thing is, though, the state of the world, we don't really know, especially with everything going on here. Everything gets worse, progressively worse each day. And so, if they are going to do it on the 12th, then cool, we'll get it. But honestly, though, they might wait till after Microsoft do theirs.
Are you saying July?
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
I know that might be that sound weird for me to say it, but honestly, it'd be the case. They could wait till after July. I'm sorry, still July.
So wow. That's very interesting. I mean, because dang, man, that's. I mean, you know what? I don't think it's far fetched, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, you got Ghost of Tsushima in July, so it's like you got to play devil's advocate here because you got
two games here. If you launch in June, you got what? Last of Us 2. If you do it in July, you got Ghost. You know what I'm saying? It's conflicting games on each particular month. Yeah. So it's like either game is either going to get one or two things. Shit ton more publicity from the event, like, yeah, guys, this game's still launching, type of thing, or they're gonna wait until another time. But honestly, July seems about right, and the reason why I say again, July, again with the state of the world and the fact that I don't know, they weren't quick really to say like, hey guys, we're gonna do it on this particular day. Usually when a company is like pushing it like a little bit, and I mean a little bit, they're quick to release a statement to say, hey guys, look, we're postponing it, but hey, you'll get it 5 days later, 6 days later.
That's a good point, because that's what EA did.
Exactly.
They pushed it to the 18th or something like that. So that's a good point. But see, I've been told, don't be shocked if there's a stealth release of The Last of Us on the 17th.
Yeah.
So there could be, because of the pre-orders are swole.
Yeah. Pre-orders for Last of Us 2 have exceeded, I think they said, what was it, God of War? It exceeded God of War pre-orders.
Yeah.
They're doing ridiculously well with Last of Us 2. And so
it wouldn't shock me.
They got a lot going on. It's funny. I had a troll trying to spoil Last of Us 2 last night, and then the chat, it was funny. So I was like, dude, really? And still, when we showed the pre-order numbers, like the dude's soul died within him and he disappeared. So I don't know. It's weird in this community.
You already know, but yeah, July. Jeez, man. I mean, we've been waiting for so long, dude. And like for me personally, like I was kind of like saying to myself, I'm like, golly, like, man, postponed. And then I thought about everything that's been going on. I was like, all right, well, I can't get too mad, but at the same time, and the hype level is just so freaking real, man, for this whole entire event. And one of the main things, and what are the main things I'm sitting here thinking about, and that's why I wanted to ask Hip Hop about, was the console, because I want to see the freaking box, man. Like I really want to get it, bro.
We were honestly going to get it. I honestly believe we were going to get it. There's no way you go on national, like Hip Hop. I'm pretty sure he will stamp on this dude. Like, yo, there's no way they were going to do a national like TV style event where it's kind of similar to the old school E3. Remember that, where it used to be on G4? they were doing that style of reveal for the PS5. Yeah, they were going old school for PS5's reveal. And what you were going to get the hardware, you were going to get the form factor, obviously. You were going to get a detailed amount of time for the DualSense controller, and then they were going to focus strictly on the games that were going to be the tech demo, or not really a tech demo, but the games that were truly going to showcase the power, with a few third-party games probably there, just announced there. Like, yeah, this game will work there day one or be there day one. And then your first party games that were going to be there, that, you know, showcasing gameplay. That's what they were going to do. But they pushed it back.
Yeah. Thoughts on that, hip hop?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things there, you know what I'm saying? So, and first off, shout out to Big Cloud, man. That's my guy right there. You know what I'm saying? It's how to show you love, dog. Real talk.
You already know.
So Pete,
right? Up this whole year.
You know what I'm saying? So Pete game, right? So the first thing is the style that they wanted to show everything off of, like in terms of the games and everything. So that's a definite, but here's the thing. When it comes to the hardware, I know that they want to do actual hardware teardown and like explain everything about the hardware and show the hardware's features and stuff like that. So from what I was told, the hardware wasn't supposed to be shown on that stage. Now, don't get me wrong, Big Cloud, I know it's an E3 style presentation, but it was strictly only for games. The reason why is because the hardware, there's certain things with the hardware that needs that much more attention to, where it needs its own like segment, so to speak.
So more or less the cooling situation, maybe? Is that what's going on? Probably.
Wait, say that last part again.
Is it the cooling situation? Like, I've been hearing a lot of reports going on about them having trouble with cooling with their PS5.
No,
that's not true.
There's no trouble. There's no trouble with the cooling. There's no trouble with that. What I'm saying is, remember when Mark Sony mentioned about a teardown and stuff like that? Like, there's an event specifically to showcase like the functionality on how the console like works, how it performs, the features in it, and things of that nature. Like, the games is just to show you what the system can do. Like, you know what I'm saying? But in terms of this separate segment, that's strictly for the console and the hardware features and what it's gonna mean. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about like the UI. You know what I'm saying? Remember how they had the PS4 reveal? Even though they didn't reveal the system that day, they showed off share play and all these other features and functions of the actual system itself. I believe that's something that's going to be done separately. But here's the thing that's crazy about Sony this time around. There's a lot of features because they got certain things on the controller alone that's more than just a controller that they want to showcase. The system, everything. So I believe they're going to do it in segments. And also from a competitive standpoint, they still paying attention to how Microsoft is moving. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not going to reveal everything that they're going to, show. They have a step. They have a process on how they want to show things. Now, the last thing I'll say on this is what I think is going to be interesting. When you see the games and what they can actually, what we're going to experience.
Speak on it.
Like nobody.
You already know they got the gems. You already know.
I don't even think people gonna care about what the system look like. The joint could be a big toothpick. Like, it don't matter, son. They don't.
Bro, you had dudes that don't know what gameplay and cinematics are. So I mean, hell, I'm not worried about it. Trust me.
I don't think nobody's gonna care because I'm getting more and more information behind the scenes now in terms of just the games. And one thing I can say is when it comes to Unreal Engine 5 and how amazing that is, how amazing that looked, when you see the first party engines and the way they perform, I'm scared, son.
Decima engine. Decima engine.
It's gonna be crazy, though. Yeah.
If you thought they were mad now over Unreal, that's nothing compared to what they've got, what these engines are capable of. If they can get the emotion engine for music, if that is real, and as you play, it's just going to build tension for you. That's that alone. And the one thing that we can't be demo for us is the sound, because it's spatial sound. So that's why with Big Cloud, when you show the Unreal thing, you were even saying it sounds like it's more in depth. It has better overall quality of sound.
Like,
that's the Tempest. Yeah, and that's the Tempest engine. That's just in a 2D environment. Imagine putting on the 3D headset, for spatial sound.
The amount of people try to like take down or they try to dismiss that demo. It's really sad that the many people I've seen try to dismiss.
Oh yeah, I know we'll get into that, but yeah, I got a lot to say about that. There's a bunch of moist fruit booties on that one.
Oh, bro.
Yo, listen. I tell everybody, man. Like both systems is gonna be really serious this generation, but PlayStation 5 is literally in a league of its own with this time around. In every area, and the scary thing about it is that the entire gaming industry,
they know it. They don't want to see it.
Has to adjust to what Sony created. I never seen that before because you gotta remember PC was always ahead, like in terms of just based off the old rules within the industry. You know what I'm saying? PC was always ahead. This is the first time ever that a console will shift the entire development on how games are made for industry.
Wow. That's why you have a lot of developers, Marlon. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. And I can prove it. I ain't just talking, I can prove it. Let's go, B.
Go to the recent report. Go ahead, get them about the recent report. Like they had to rewrite the entire code.
We gonna talk about that. Trust me.
They had to rewrite the entire code. Games got to be specifically tuned for PS5. That's how they doing it.
Bro, this is why I've been telling people this whole time. And you have a lot of developers that actually came out and shut that whole T-flop thing down because everybody was saying like, hey, look, like, the Xbox Series X graphically is gonna leave the PS5 in the dust and leave the Xbox One X in the dust and all of this. And I'm like, bro, chill. Because we have countless developers, and now the NDA. Do you guys know the NDA for the PS5 is actually lifted now? So more and more people can actually come out and actually say more things about it. But what's so crazy?
Yeah, is there's something to that though. They some people had to re-sign slightly extended. Like this postpone thing shook up a lot of stuff. That's why listen, if you notice, right, when PlayStation 5 announced what they announced in terms of June 4th, everything was in play. The moment they postponed, everybody had to move accordingly. There's a reason for that, because other people can't do what they had to do because Sony got to do what they have to do first to make everything. Man.
Yeah, there's a domino effect. That really hurt. I want to ask you something.
Let's go.
I want to ask you something. Because what I got told by two people was that the PS5 is Mark Cerny and Lisa Sue's revenge because of what happened with the cell architecture.
Yes,
and how it got pushed away. They didn't. The industry united to stop that cell architecture. So the PS5's SSD, like you said, Hip Hop, it's going to shift. It has to shift. Everybody's behind it. As soon as that thing comes out, the PS5 hits, everybody is down behind the PS5 as far as their SSD tech. So do you think there could be, I'm just asking your opinion. I mean, do you think this could be their payback against, I guess, was it Intel? Because you notice how AMD has specifically targeted Intel. I mean, they put them back for 2 years with their Ryzen tech. So I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that? Or not that you haven't heard anything, but there could be something to that smoke.
Okay, so PAX, I think 2019 or 2018, one of them years, I did a dope interview with AMD, right? Dope interview, and off camera, I got a chance to talk to a few engineers over at AMD, right? So they've been talking about this for the longest in terms of what their goals are, for PS5, the next generation systems and everything like that. But also they told me about their goals for their brand in business in becoming market leader. And one of the keys for them to become market leader will come through the consoles. That's going to be their key to becoming market leader overall. and so like that in terms you know, of a chipset. So with PlayStation, AMD got their biggest success from the PlayStation brand and stuff like that through, you know, PS4, and through that relationship and stuff like that, it helped AMD grow outside of the console world. What PS4 did for AMD helped AMD beyond just console, and that right there was very key. So when they talked about the secret sauce, which I finally got a chance to find out what one of the things that they was talking about when Lisa did that interview with Joe Kramer. Oh, yeah. Stuff like that. When they thought about the secret sauce. So this is it right here. The way the CPU and the GPU talk with one another. And I made this statement before, but I'll make this analogy on your show, Marlon. The analogy is this. Let's say you're in a relationship with your girl, but y'all have bad communication and stuff like that. Well, if y'all have bad communication, collectively, it's going to be hard for y'all to perform right. You know what I'm saying? As a couple going forward, because the communication is down, so the morale is down, so y'all can't perform in unity correctly. Yes. But when you got great communication, great understanding, great respect for one another, then from a performance standpoint, that's when you get those 60, 70-year marriages. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can just stay together and everything just work. Yeah. So that's what Sony managed to accomplish with AMD with the PS5 and the secret sauce. Wow. The way the CPU and the GPU talk to one another and speak to one another and handle things and stuff like that, it's an entire shift in how game development and game design will take place. And now, honestly, I never seen this before, but PlayStation is now ahead of everything. Wow. Like in terms of everything, PlayStation is now ahead. And now when you get a PC, you have to get a PC where certain standards is involved, and the secret sauce, just to make it more clear for the audience that's listening. Yes. One of their secret sauce developments was the six layers, the custom memory channel that they had to build, the 12-channel memory that they had to build for their memory to work right, and the speed of their SSD. That's one of their secret sauces, is because it's not just about speed, it's about the layers of bottlenecks that you eliminate. That was one of the secret sauce, because you could get an SSD faster than the PlayStation, but it's not gonna perform like it. Yeah. And that was one of their secret sauce things. That's
why they have to specially test each one. That's why they're being very specific about it. And even the newer ones, the higher end ones for PC, they're rocking what's called heat sinks, Marlon, and those are not compatible. That's what they're saying.
Yep. Wow, that is insane. Yep. That is because everybody was like, "What is this secret sauce situation that she was talking about?"
Shift. I think the smart shift.
The smart shift too,
which is not technically. It's smart shift part of that, which is not technically new, but as far as it being used,
it's not new, but it's not new, but it's being used here. It's being used in places.
Which I thought brilliant, because if the CPU was only demanding, if the GPU is at 100, needs more, it's at 85%, it can call a CPU automatically to help, and help alleviate some of the what's going on, and that's going to add for better efficiency, like Hip Hop was talking about, that communication, and it's going to make your games will be more stable, and it's going to run much more efficiently in theory. Have to see it playing out, but that Unreal demo that was damn impressive.
Man,
think about it like this. I got a great analogy for y'all, so you can understand the biggest difference between PS5 and the Series X in terms of one running. One being able to be variable and one just running at a constant, and just the way this performs in the world of PC games anyway, and stuff like that, right? So let's say you run in a race, like you're jogging and stuff like that. You're not gonna win a marathon trying to go full speed, because that full speed, you're gonna start getting tired. Then catching your breath is gonna be harder, and all these other things. But when you're at a variable rate, you're adjusting as you go. And you giving whatever is needed in that moment is what you're able to give it. And if it's not needed, you're able to relax and always work accordingly. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that design is genius to me. And I'm gonna tell you why. If you play a game on PC, right, and you overclock it, you do all these other things. If you trying to maintain a certain level of performance throughout the whole time, you're taking up a lot more power consumption, which affects the whole point of having a cooling system. Like you like everything is like if you're running too hot all the time, it's actually counterproductive. It's abusing your power just because you got it. But if you're using power that's not even if you're using power in areas where it's not needed, then it's counterproductive and your bottleneck will be revealed. So I'm telling you, I've seen it countless times through PC gaming. So now when I play in certain games, I either have my clock set to optimal or adaptive, because if I maximize it, it can work against me in performance. And I've seen it. You ever played a game and you get like an unnecessary spike where you'll get like a stutter, but it's still a solid 60 frames per second. There's no fluctuation in the frames, but there's fluctuation in the pacing.
It's like you see a freeze frame.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's. Whew.
You know the other secret though is hip hop. I know I was surprised you didn't say it. The other secret that with PS5, I keep telling people this. They don't want to listen when I say this, but it's really it's in the hardware itself. It's the PCIe controller. Sony's using a more advanced PCIe controller. Now I know a lot of people go, "What the hell is that?" That right there controls the data that is going to be flowing through the system and how much and how it can process it. Basically, that's their whole new trick with PS5. And of course, when you add super fast SSDs in there, they're pushing like what 5.5 gigabytes a second. You're gonna have a pretty fast. That's what they're doing.
And it goes up to 22.
Yep. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Depending on how developers use it. And the cool thing about the way PlayStation designed their system is there's a lot of things there available to use, but it's not needed. So it gives a lot of options on how you want to make your game, and those options that's what creates the variety. So I think Sony. Here's the key thing here, and this should just sum everything up. It don't matter what it is. You could be in the food business, in the fashion business, or whatever business that you're in. But the experts and the creators within that business that's responsible for why we get excited in the first place. Yeah. If they are saying the things that they're saying more towards one system than the other, like pay attention to what the creators are saying.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, I've never seen this before. The last time I've seen anything slightly like this is during the 360 era, when people was excited on making games on the 360
because it was easy.
The way their architecture was, it was easy.
Exactly.
And look at the results. The results was 360 was way better than PS3 in terms of the way the third-party games turned out, and more people wanted to work on it.
Yes,
like
the 360 was underpowered to PS3, and the thing is, what does that sound very similar to right now?
Exactly,
PS5 and Series X. And again, I know a lot of people keep bringing up the GPU, the T-flops, but we mention this all the time, and this is not a deflection. Again, Series X, right? We all give props to Series X. Series X is a powerful system. The thing is, the T-flop war is not what's going on, and that's not the determining factor for what they're doing for next gen. Exactly. What they're doing is they're trying to improve where gaming development in general, with consoles, is on a new level on its own, and that's what Sony's doing. Like they're far exceeded anything they've seen. This is the most developer-friendly system they've ever done. Exactly. And when you see Unreal showing up their engine, again, this right here is going to carry over into PS5's or PlayStation's engines, or even Xbox in a way, where they take pictures. Yes, but everybody's going to benefit from this. But you remember how on the Unreal Engine hip hop, where he was like, "Oh yeah, we can take a picture of like gravel or a wall from like a cave and just drop it in the game, and the game will automatically just process and render that, and it's in there."
Yep, that's it.
That is how fast they are. That's what I'm saying. The game development in general is cut down in half. And how is it cut down in half? Let me explain. Back in the day, with these game engines and these game worlds, they would have to go back to the drawing board and sculpt each particular part of the game, especially rocks and gravel. And this is how you can tell they scope it, because if you go to the outside of a lot of these worlds, let's say Call of Duty, for example, you'll notice that a lot of like textures look like clay.
Yeah.
That's because they have the scope and fine tune it to look like a real life brick and marble and stuff like that.
Wow.
Worlds are going to be easier to make than ever.
And this is
and that's why they Ubisoft. People gotta remember Sony makes movies, so a lot of the advancements you see on the screen, and they won an Oscar for the effects, animated effects, in the Spider-Man movie that they just did, animated Spider-Man. So, Ubisoft said that they would have Hollywood style effect rendering in PS5, and that's what Unreal confirmed that. Ubisoft said that. It's kind of like, okay, but then you see Unreal, like you were just saying, BitCloud, about how they can just take a picture and move that asset in with very little to no problem. That's what they're talking about, because that's what they do.
That's a small thing, Greg. That's a small thing. Imagine the next Star Wars game.
Oh my God!
Where they can take pictures of actual props,
or
actual props, and you know what I'm saying, make it look even more realistic. That's what I'm saying. That the detail is going to be insane for next gen.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's on a whole nother level, and that's why I keep telling people, all these people out here, they still on that, because see, I know y'all saw that article where they said that the PS5 has the best freaking architecture. What does that tell you? Right? What does that tell you? Best freaking architecture right there. That means, yeah.
Omar, we gotta understand too that they're not talking about game. They're talking about specs and things like that. They've been talking specs since 2014.
Oh my God!
So children have been playing.
Married
children, and the child is taking in solid foods, and they're still talking about multi-class and stuff like that. They're not talking about games, and that's why I like the devs. That's what I always say to people, and shout out to Muscle Bound Game, which is just going with the devs said.
Yeah,
and the devs, why do they lie?
And the situation too with this whole power thing with
it's ridiculous, dude.
It's ridiculous. The Xbox One, the beast is quote unquote coming. Remember that hip hop game? The beast is coming.
Yeah, well,
this game didn't drop nothing.
Here's another scenario as well, because like I said, both systems is crazy, both of them. Like, I'm not taking nothing away from the Series X. There's things that with the Series X, they are able to perform at such a raw power performance. Like they can just focus on raw power, and that's good. But when you're dealing with something that's revolutionary, that's different, because see, I'll give you an example. Like a lot of companies, like if you look at Microsoft, and they get in studios and they partnering with companies, stuff like that. Like Sony, they are partnering with engines. So here's what Sony is doing. I'm gonna just tell y'all one thing, right? What Sony is doing behind the scenes right now is partnering with engines, so that all the new engines and the new updates to these engines are crafted with PlayStation 5 in mind. It's not just Unreal.
Wow.
So the reason why they're doing that is so that every game that's made, even from a third-party standpoint, can potentially shine the brightest on the PlayStation 5. So instead of doing a deal with a third-party studio to make a game, I'm gonna do a deal with the people that you're using to make your game on. You understand what I'm saying? So now it's deeper, because like let's say you take what's the name, Rocksteady, that make the Batman games, right? And let's say they're using Unreal Engine 5. Well, because PlayStation partnered with Unreal Engine, whatever they make on there, even though it's going to be on all platforms, is going to be specially designed with PlayStation 5 in mind, because Unreal Engine was designed with PlayStation 5 in mind. You understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
Now let's say you have another company, and that company is using Crytek or whatever. Okay, we're gonna make this game. It's gonna be on every platform, but because the relationship in a partnership that I built with PlayStation's platform, Crytek got things in their engine that's specifically driven to push the PlayStation 5's platform. So no matter what you make, no matter what developer it is, whatever, everything has to adjust by the way PlayStation is. Now I'll give you an example. You remember how, especially in the 360 era, 360 was the lead platform when it came to game development, and everything was ported to everything else. But 360 was the lead platform because the way the architecture was. So now think of it like that, but it's at the engine scale. It's all the way to the engine scale, beyond just a third-party developer contract. So I'm telling you, it's the strategy is scary, and this goes back to what Michael Pachter said in my interview about how Jim Ryan being a different type of competitor. Like he's a different type of competitor. He's the kind of person that got that Jordan in them, that last dance in them. Look, I love you, but I'm gonna kill you because we're competing.
Facts.
And that's that.
Yeah.
That's that.
I mean, man, look, you say no better than I would say it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was telling people that what is Sony's greatest strength? Their first party games, right? And then one would argue, oh well, they're not selling more than what Nintendo is doing. Nintendo is a whole nother situation. Nintendo is in a whole nother lane by themselves, because people always say, oh, what first party title that Sony got that will sell more than a Nintendo title? And I'm like, bro,
like no PlayStation title has like the real history like a Mario.
Exactly.
That's the longest franchise period. So of course.
But let's keep it a buck. Like I'm just trying to. I don't remember off the top of my head. But how much did what's the name sell? What's the joint with the where they shooting all the colors? Splatoon. How much did Splatoon sell?
I think Splatoon was like what, 14 or 13 or something like that. Up in there, it's like 14 million or 15 million, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncharted 4 is like 16, I believe now.
Wow.
Understand what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
The point I'm trying to say is whether it's a Nintendo exclusive or a Sony exclusive.
Yeah.
When we come to Xbox, in terms of this entire generation of Xbox One from 2013 all the way to now.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have, and this is
nothing. Yeah. Nothing.
Exclusive title that broke the 10 million mark.
You know what they will say?
That's crazy to me.
They'll say Halo. They will say, oh, Halo is gonna. Okay, here's the talk. What I've been hearing some people say. Well, Halo Infinite is going to blow PS5 out of the water at launch, because Sony is not going to have something that strong enough to go up against Halo Infinite, and Halo Infinite is going to drive Series X sales. And so the only way that Sony can have something conscious is if Spider-Man 2, but we know Spider-Man 2 is not ready, and we know that the other stuff like Days Gone 2 is not ready. So best chance we have is Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and that's not gonna touch Halo Infinite. I'm like, bro, Halo is not the same like how it used to be. After 5, I think a lot of people fell off the joint. For me, I stopped at Reach. I'm like, bro, after Reach, they should have stopped, because Halo 5, just nah, that was not it, Chief, at all. Now, Halo Infinite, there's a lot of pressure around that game.
They're saying they're going back to the roots and all this. I'm like,
I ain't trying to hear all that, bruh.
I need more from Microsoft than just Halo. I'm just keep it real. Dude's putting Halo on this pedestal like it's going to change the game at the start of a gen. Halo is tired and played the hell out.
But this is
something else.
Yeah, but this is my question to hip hop. Like, just to answer that main question, do you think? And I already know the answer to it, but do you think that Halo Infinite is going to crush everything that Sony is going to put out there? And also, because I think, who is it? Peter Moore said the first system to get to 10 million units win the generation. So in your opinion, do you think that the Xbox Series X have a potential of beating out Sony with the PS5 with Halo Infinite alone to 10 million units because of the install base?
Oh, to 10 million units? Okay, so here's how I would answer that question, right? So Xbox has incredible value in terms of the way they structured their business. So I'll give you an example of what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Day one, if I go by, PlayStation 5, and let's say Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is launching a day one launch with it, and it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I gotta buy that. Whereas on Xbox, I could just buy the Xbox and use my free Game Pass trial to play Halo. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I don't have to buy Halo to play Halo.
See?
Now, in terms of value, a lot of people would be like, yo, because you got to remember, hardcore is the hardcore. We're going to adopt that, fast. So the hardcore is different. But for those that are like, I just want to get a system, play some games, and the Game Pass allows me to do all of this other stuff and day and date, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to compete against because of the ease of getting into the generation, the way Xbox set up their business model. Now, what I would say on the PlayStation side, PlayStation, you have to think about it from a standpoint of this. PlayStation has the Last of Us. Give me a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good. Yeah. So I mean, my whole thing on this whole situation.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. So So what I'm gonna tell you is that PlayStation on their end, they got stuff that you can't be without.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta remember, you like the difference between PlayStation and Xbox is that PlayStation, when PlayStation come out, people still want Spider-Man. People still want Last of Us. People still want Ghost of Tsushima. It's the holiday season. They still want all those games that's on, PS4, and you're gonna be able to play them on the PS5. PS5 is gonna have games that's specifically gonna show you the difference in generation, whereas Xbox won't. So to me, the first of 10 million is going to be PlayStation. That's not the question. The first of 10 million is going to be PlayStation. I'm not worried about that. What I am saying is that Halo is going to get a bigger push than normal because you don't have to buy Halo to play it. That's what I'm saying.
Because of Game Pass.
They kind of you have Game Pass. That's their whole cheat is with Game Pass.
Yeah, and because you understand, they're making a lot of money based off hours played, as opposed to game sales. You know what I'm saying? So they make a lot of money that way. But the problem is you're not gonna get the game 2K21 on Game Pass like day and day. Like you're not gonna get those particular games. You still gonna have to buy those. Yeah, you still gonna have to buy those games. Yeah. And when you see those games on, because I'm gonna tell you this. It's not just the games. It's not just that. The features of each system is going to be a major difference maker, and there's a lot of things that people don't know yet that you're going to find out soon. And all I gotta say is August. When August comes, rap. That's it.
Excuses right there. On the channel, he said Sony's going to do something in August that's going to make everybody.
In August, these conversations will not happen anymore. Once August comes. And
my God.
And I'm gonna tell you this. Right?
Oh my God.
I'm gonna tell you this, right? I got 2 interviews right now that I postponed from launching this week, but they coming next. This week coming, I got stuff coming out. I got interviews with Konami, and I got interviews with Second Extinction, the company that's doing the game with the dinosaurs that Xbox showed on a joint. I got interview with Konami. I got interview with the Second Extinction developers, and I got something from somebody that I can't reveal yet. But I got something from somebody that told me, they was like, "Look, I would love to talk to you right now, but you're gonna want to talk to me in August." That's what I was told. So I said, "All right, cool." So in August, because I did some other follow-ups. August?
Oh my God.
We're gonna leave it like that.
Oh my God.
Like that.
That's crazy. You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny about that? Jeff Grubb mentioned something about August, and he said that some sort of state of play is gonna be going down for the PS5. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So shout out to Jeff Grubb.
Yep.
He know what's up.
That's the homie.
He know what's up, then.
That's the homie.
He know what's up, then. Shout out to Jeff Grubb. He know what's up, then. August.
Oh my
God. He leaking every damn thing.
Hey, exclusive.
He had the list of schedules and everything. I'm like, dog, this dude gives no shit. Like, something's right.
Yeah, he got a good source. They're using him. They could be using him as a source just to say, hey, start putting some of this out.
But Sony could have done the event on June or July. They could announce the event for July 13th. Just to fuck what they did on the right day. So I was like, damn.
But August, isn't that what Madden?
August is going to be crazy. I think Madden comes out in August, right? Yeah, I think so.
I think it used to. Yeah.
Man.
It may be July now, or September. But
man.
And you know what's funny though, because is Sony trying to match Microsoft in every aspect, because with the whole Xbox 2020 joint, it will make sense for them to spread out everything. You know what I mean? And that's why I believe hip hop with the whole console not being shown at the reveal event, because remember, we still didn't get the teardown yet. Remember that teardown that Mark Cerny said that we were supposed to be getting, where they're going to tear the system down with the cooling. All of that is going to take time.
There's a lot of stuff that had to be adjusted, man. It's crazy times right now. A lot of stuff that had to be adjusted. But the only thing I can tell y'all is, now I know we talk a lot about PlayStation, but I'm gonna tell you something too. I'm gonna tell you something, and this is dealing with Xbox now.
Ooh, let's make it happen.
Right?
Let's go.
Okay. So now on the Xbox side of things, in terms of what they're doing with their, Azure and their cloud technology and stuff like that, all that stuff is amazing. Obviously, Sony's using it and stuff like that. But here's what I want to tell you that is going to be very unique and very key for Xbox. They just gotta, capitalize on it. You know what I'm saying? They have to. So with Microsoft right now, man, there's one thing I can say that I think is going to be that I think needs Sony's attention. I would just say they need Sony's attention. So Microsoft, like a lot of the studios that they acquired and the games that they're working on and stuff like that, there's two interesting titles being developed for Microsoft that I feel people will like gravitate to in a different kind of way. And what I mean by that is Halo is not Microsoft's biggest focus. This is the first time in a generation where Halo is not Microsoft's biggest focus anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
They're on the back end, there's a lot of resources, a lot of financial resources, and a lot of other development resources that has shifted to two other titles. That's going to be their new main focuses. So Halo is there because it's there and it exists, but it's not the focus anymore. It's not the focus
Makes
anymore.
sense.
So that right there is interesting to me because it's about time. That's one.
Facts.
It's about time.
Facts.
But two, it goes to show that Phil Spencer is trying to actually compete, and I love that. So that's what I'm saying. Pay attention to Microsoft too. Don't just overlook because that's not wise. You know what I'm saying? But Microsoft got some heat.
Yeah.
No, you're right. What I was told is that Microsoft is going to hit Sony as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Not to stop them, but to just slow them down for 2 years till they can start getting their games out for Series X. It's just that Sony knows it's coming. Yeah. So that's why Sony is just kind of laying back in the cut. But I agree. Both these consoles are going to be fine. I do think that the fanboys in the Xbox community, they have unfairly put the Series X in a bad show, because the Series X is fine.
Yeah.
They're not the one running around saying we're going to put games at all games at 4K native at 60 frames a second. They never said that. So it's and again, you got people boycotting it.
Aaron Greenberg alluded to it though when he was like 4K 60.
We gonna talk about that.
That's not an official press release. And
Aaron Greenberg alluded to it. He took it back.
But they're talking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla that they're going to boycott it.
And
I've always said that.
I don't know why people are holding on to the second of hope for that game having a performance mode. Ubisoft never drops performance patches.
No,
they just
that game was made. They started making that game as soon as Assassin's Creed Odyssey hit the shelf. They started making the next one, and they're not going to do that. And I hope it has a performance mode. But my point is that instead of them celebrating a new game coming out, they got mad because again they sat around and they pontificated on their podcast how much better the multi-class were going to look and run, and then they got a big FU when that game was going to hit at 30 frames per second. It's not that big a deal, guys.
They ruled the day.
So one thing that Microsoft got to be careful on this time around is their messaging. Once again, the same thing that destroyed them before would be the same thing that destroyed them now. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. The pay attention to this, because I know a lot of people said that they're waiting to see the marketing campaign to officially roll out, at least on both sides. But Sony started marketing already. I'm gonna tell you what I mean. So the whole Unreal Engine thing, the plan was like sinister. So the thing is, and shout out to Reddit for me, my girl, she said this, and this is very like, it's crazy because talking to a few friends of mine, and when I brought this up, they was like, yeah, man, it's a different way to go about it.
Yeah.
So the way they're marketing the PlayStation right now is allowing everybody else to talk about them for them. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. With the whole Unreal Engine, the whole deal, Sony didn't have to say anything for them to say everything they needed to say, because Tim Sweeney did it all for them. And then that led into everything else that we see here today. I know, Marlon, I see you got the topic, so when you get to it, you'll get to it. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you look at Microsoft, right? How did they do their marketing? They allow Austin Evans and Digital Foundry to do the talking, for them. But at the same time, they did it with them. But they did a lot of talking, but technically, Xbox didn't show anything. At all. Facts. They didn't show anything. Facts. They showed some great backwards compatibility options. They showed some third-party games that's also going to be on PlayStation for the most part, and that's it. But they didn't show you anything where somebody's controlling the game and they're playing it, and this is what I'm gonna buy later on. Like, they didn't show that yet. But they have people talking. So what I'm telling you is, they started their marketing campaigns already from an influencer standpoint. But with Sony, their approach is more sinister. And the reason why is because they did everything that was needed without having to say anything about it. Think about it. Sony hasn't said a word. You know what I'm saying? In terms of what they can do, whatever. All they did was make statements on what was revealed, but they didn't say anything in terms of, hey, we got boom 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 and we're gonna boom boom boom. Nope. June 4th, you'll see what blah blah blah. They got postponed, so the first time they really gonna come out and speak on a behalf of games being showed is at this event.
Facts.
Like,
facts.
That's crazy to me.
Facts.
That's crazy to me, man.
And this is why a lot of people, they call me out, they tag me, I don't even care. But this is why I say this. Sony is the first, because I was on a podcast, I was on the PE podcast. What was it? 2 days ago, I was on the PE podcast, and I said, that Sony is the first, literally the first company to come out legitimately and say, hey, look, we're going to show you games, next generation games running on actual hardware, not freaking PC, but actual freaking hardware. Because I know a lot of people didn't know about this, but Scorn, the game that they showed, I think it was for Xbox Series X and PC, that was actually running on a 2080 Ti. And I'm like, dog, like, yes, bro, yes, no, Scorn was not running on the Xbox Series X. And this is why I'm telling people.
Well, none of those games were, and you'll learn that in my interview with Second Extension.
Oh, wow. Well,
wow, bro. Marlon, it said it was running on a 2080
Ti. Yeah, 2080 Ti.
How much is a 2080, man? Because that's what I'll buy.
2080 Ti is like what, almost $1,000 or something? Or a little
bit I'm not buying that. Never mind. Lay that order. Nah, I ain't buying nothing like that.
You're gonna pay a lot, sir. Because the 38 is money more than that.
That would be my Trump reparation check. I'd have to get rid of that. No, I can't do it.
Now here's my thing though, and this is why I want to ask Hip Hop, because this is a big conversation right now. And I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla kind of started this situation where, okay, this joint is going to be 4K 30. And now we're seeing more developers, even the developer for Scorn came out and be like, look, y'all need to lower y'all expectations for these 4K 60, because 4K 60 is not going to be the norm. It's going to actually be 4K 30 with options for 60 and 120. So he was like, don't sit here and think that 4K 60 is going to be what you're going to get on everything, right? And I'm like, well, that's basically this gen, what we got with the PS4 Pro and with the One X, right? We got a bunch of performance options, right? And people are kind of disappointed because they're thinking like, man, these systems are more than capable of doing 4K 60, 4K 120. But like I said, it comes down to what the freaking developer. And so the argument kind of came up where they were saying, well, the Series X can do 4K 60 no problem. It's the PS5. The PS5 is the problem. I'm like, bro, where y'all getting this information from? Where y'all getting this info? They said next gen as a whole. They didn't say, well, the PS5 is not capable. That's what I'm saying. They always try to find a way to single out the PS5 and say, well, because it's 10 point something T-flop.
4K 60.
Huh?
The Xbox X has 4K 60.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, at least that's what they tell us. That they said that a lot of their games are, because in Halo, wasn't that a 60 FPS game?
Exactly. And then Aaron Greenberg, remember Aaron Greenberg retracted on his statement. He said, yeah, a lot of the stuff is going to be 4K 60. Then he changed up and said, nah, it's going to be 4K 30. It's like, bro, which one is it? You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Hip Hop. Go ahead.
So the way this works is it's all about the developer's vision. This is what I spoke with David Jaffe about recently as well. It's all about the developer's vision. So like if you take your PC, right? With Assassin's Creed, I can run my game at 4K 60, but let's say I have to turn some things down and I gotta lose some graphical quality to do it. So can I do it? Yeah, but does it come with a sacrifice? Yeah. So this is where machine learning comes in. This is why DLSS 2.0 was such a big deal when they showed it on NVIDIA. But overall, this is why machine learning is very important inside the PlayStation and inside the Xbox. See, the thing is, when you're making a game, this is why Jim Ryan said what he said. When you are making a game using all the new features of the next generation and it's not cross-gen, I'm making this game specifically for PS5 so we can take advantage of everything. You can get 4K 60 or you could do 1440p 60. Either way, I can make a 1440p image look better than your native 4K image. Like that exists now. So the point is, the machine learning is going to be the factor. What I'm trying to tell people is that don't think about the gaming industry or the way gaming operates. Don't think about it in the old way of thinking. Like everything is new now. Everything is different. The rules have changed. So you can't think about a game from a 4K 60 standpoint and just think that everything is better, because you can have a game that's 4K 60 and it still may not perform well because of other variables that will make that 60 inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so many different things that developers got to think of now. So what I would say, if I was Microsoft, is that we have a powerful console that can do this and then leave it at that, because developers are going to make what they want to make, unless you make it a standard across the board where everything has to be this way, and then boom. PlayStation, on the other hand, they got the upper hand. Why? Because PS5 games will be PS5 games, whereas Xbox Series X games will be held back. And that's something else you're going to learn about in my second extension interview, because Sony don't got to compromise. Microsoft does. That's the problem.
Facts. Because why?
Sony does not have to compromise. Microsoft do. So you're going to see things out the gate from PlayStation within that first year, that first launch window. You're going to see things that they do, and you're going to start questioning yourself, like, wait, can Xbox do this? Like, what's going?
Wow. And it's all because of that VCR box. You know what I'm saying? The original OG freaking VCR box. You know what I'm saying? And developers already been talking about it already, saying that they feel like they're limited based on development because of the original Xbox One. And of course, the war started when Jim Ryan came out. Y'all remember that, right? I think he was with Industry.biz or something. And he said,
Industry.biz.
Yeah. And he said that, look, he want to give PlayStation fans something special with PS5, right? And he wants to make what? PS5 exclusive games only on PS5 and not on PS4. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody had their different strategy. So
automatically the way of doing it anyway.
Next gen experiences.
Exactly. So and then it's smart because people that bought the PS4, if they want Spider-Man 2, if they want Horizon Zero Dawn 2, they got to buy a PS5. Simple as that. Whereas Microsoft, they're like, nah, we're spreading everything out on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to keep that install base, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But at the same time, from a development standpoint, you're limiting the freaking developer to what they can do with the Xbox Series X. Now they have to sit there and think about the OG Xbox in mind when they're developing for at least 2 years, basically, before we start seeing Xbox Series X, you know, true exclusives on the system. And that's why I tell people that there go the sales right there. That's where the sales are going to really show you the big difference, right, between the two consoles. Because for a whole year and two, Microsoft, bunch of multi plats, as far as like all their first party titles are going to be on PC. They're going to be all over the place, right? It's going to be multi-platform. Whereas with PS5, it's just on freaking PS5. Now, there's going to be some cross-gen joints between the PS4 and the PS5, but as far as like exclusive that was built from the ground up, it's only on PS5. So there's nothing wrong with that. They were like, oh no, Jim Ryan is stupid for doing that. I'm like, bro, y'all don't even understand how the business works, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's normal. I mean, normal. Why would you create something brand new and then not have anything ready specifically for it? I don't understand that. But that's just me personally. I don't get it. I don't. You know, everybody's different. I just think it's generational at this point. I'm not buying something new to play something old. That's like call it mashed potatoes. Don't get me wrong. I love my call it mashed potatoes, but where's the meat? Where's my porterhouse?
Facts.
I shouldn't. It's okay to have it, but I don't.
It's a spreadsheet board you were just talking about.
Yeah, I don't. People are different. I mean, I would be mad as hell if somebody said, "Well, here's a PS5, but you know, you have to still play the old Horizon Zero Dawn. You got no new games coming out for a year or two." I wouldn't buy it.
Exactly.
So I was waiting for 2 years.
What's the point? It's like it's a toss up. I mean, I might as well just play it on PC for the best experience, right? Because I got a 2080 Ti card in here, so I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point of this thing is, and this is why I tell people, I love Microsoft. I love what they're doing. I love the fact that they came out the gate showing the Series X. But if a lot of people really kind of dig into the whole Game Awards reveal for the Series X, Phil Spencer was not happy about that. That came from the higher ups, you know what I mean, at Microsoft to really show the system. He said that he wasn't really happy about showing the system, you know what I'm saying, at the Game Awards, right? He wanted to wait, I'm guessing, until E3, right, to show it, or maybe they were going to try to have some sort of event in between E3 to kind of show off what the system looks like and everything. He said that he wasn't really ready, but it came from somebody above, he said, to show off the Series X. Because I'm like, bro, like, that was your opportunity right there to show us something on stage to blow us all away. Right? When they revealed the Series X, they showed us freaking Hellblade 2, the in-game freaking engine. That was it. And I'm like, bro, that was your opportunity right there to step on Sony's neck. But they didn't. And now Sony got the upper hand when it comes to showing live freaking real-time gameplay running on actual next-gen hardware. And that, once again, they dropped the freaking ball. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, and just to add to what you're saying, Marlon, because you're so on point. What you have to understand is, E3 has been around since 1995. I started going to E3 in 2008, and I can tell you this. My boy Torrance Davis can tell you this. Sony never, ever went first when it came to show off games. This is the first time ever that they're going first, showing off their stuff. Listen, I'm telling you right now, the strategy here is that Sony wants to show out the gate that we got something, we're going to show something, and we're going to do something that Xbox either can't do or you won't see for quite a while.
Wow.
And that right there is scary. I'm going to tell you why that's scary. Because if you have in this day and age with the way they worked with Unreal, you gotta understand Sony has first party titles that's also developed using the Unreal Engine. Like Days Gone is one of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like Sony don't use the engine. The more I look into it, there's a major, because just to let you know, Sony, to my knowledge, has 3 new exclusives.
Wow.
That I feel that's supposed to blow people away. One, they're supposed to have a horror game, an online multiplayer game, and a fighting game.
Let me ask you this real quick. I want to inject something. Let me ask you this. I saw something on Twitter. Somebody tagged me into this and I read it. Now, let me ask you, do you think Kojima, because from what I heard, Kojima had something and they had to scrap it or whatever. And now he has something in the works. So do you think Kojima might have something at this reveal event? I've been meaning to ask you about that. Because I know Kojima always have something. Almost every PlayStation experience, Kojima's name comes up. So you can we expect anything from Kojima at all?
Honestly, I doubt it. I'm gonna tell you why I doubt it. Because I'm actually working on getting an interview with Kojima next month. Lord willing that goes through, but I should have my interview with him. And like, let's just say there's certain things I can't even like ask about. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think whatever they got is gonna be ready in time for this particular reveal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's like I guess the best way I can answer that question like right now. You know what I'm saying? But but like, on the topic of before what I was saying with the exclusives, Sony wants to make sure that they are covering their bases exclusively in variety. So if you think about it, Sony, like, think about it like this from this standpoint, right? When you have Killzone, that's Sony's exclusive shooter. You know what I'm saying? That's great. So, Microsoft, they have an exclusive shooter with Halo. Now, Sony, do they have an exclusive like horror title, like a major first party exclusive horror title? No, they don't have one right now. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So my thing is, one thing that I learned that they was attempting to do for this particular generation is to cover more bases exclusively from what they don't have. You know what I'm saying? And that right there is going to be a big deal. So I truly believe that what I learned from my Konami interview and what Sony is looking to accomplish, I truly believe that there's 3 exclusives that Sony got. One of them covers fighting, another one covers online multiplayer shooter, and another one covers horror. And those games are going to be games that help lead this next generation while piggybacking off of the big titles of the PS4 era and bringing back titles of the PS1 and 2 era. So when they talk about the past, the present, and the future, stuff like that, aside from the backwards compatibility stuff, there is games and franchises that are newly made, and some that will come back and some that will be continued. So when you talk about the continuations, that's God of War, that's Spider-Man, that's Horizon Zero Dawn, that area. The new stuff, that's Ghost of Tsushima, and the new games that's going to be announced, that's new exclusives. And if you think about stuff in the past, that's like the Siphon Filters of the world and stuff like that. It's a whole dynamic. But listen, it's a whole dynamic of how they want to make sure that when they move this generation, they're giving you a bit of the future, a bit of the present, and a bit of the past in a new way, while still preserving legacy for the fans' sake. That's the overall message that Sony has invested in.
And you know what? I like that. I really do like the fact that you said that, past, present, and future, because the funny thing is, when you brought up the whole scary game or whatever, immediately what came to mind, and it's been heating up and it seemed like it's gonna happen, and I wanted to ask you about, is Silent Hill, because for a lot of people who didn't know, I think the art director for the game, he retweeted the PS5 reveal. Yeah, he's been tweeting a lot of it. And so I'm sitting here like, dang, Silent Hill. And then what's her name? Alana Pierce from IGN. She used to work for IGN. And she talked about some stuff that she had with some devs about it or what have you. And I was like, man, it seemed like Silent Hill is going to and that would be perfect because somebody brought up something and that would be, like you said, something for the past, right? And somebody was saying something like they could rename Silent Hill, like the reboot, like they could name it The Beginning because it will be the beginning of, future, what I'm saying, scary games or what have you. So that will fall right into place on what you just said, past, present, and future, right? So they can use Silent Hill. And I also heard this guy, shout outs to what's his name, Aesthetic Gamer, Gollum. He's always been right on like a lot of Resident Evil stuff. He said that RE8 is like 99% supposed to actually be at the PS5 reveal event. Like I'm guessing they're trying to go ahead.
There's some truth to that.
Woo!
There's some truth to that. Like now, you know me. Like if I can confirm something 100%, I'm gonna go out, confirm it, make the video, and claim it. You know how I am. I claim my stuff.
Yeah.
What I can say is Resident Evil 7 left such a huge impression, especially from the VR standpoint.
Yeah.
So that like Resident Evil 8 was immediately in development. Like immediately. I can definitely tell you that.
Wow.
Now, what I can say, listen. What I can say, son, that with Resident Evil 8, I believe the way it was talked about. You see how Resident Evil 4 made such a big impact in comparison to all the other Resident Evils like back in the day,
and it's supposed to do a remake on it, right? Yeah.
So Resident Evil 8 is not the traditional scary horror game you think is gonna be. Like,
oh wow,
this game right here. If you thought Resident Evil 7 was like scary,
gruesome and scary,
Put like this. I heard that Resident Evil 8 had a lot of influence from a lot of Japanese scary movies.
Whoa! Oh my god!
So do you remember that movie? What's the name of that movie where like that? It was like this Japanese, like her head get real big and she be like,
oh yeah. I know
like,
you're talking about.
What's the name of that movie?
God, I know you're talking about. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Grudge.
Yeah, Grudge. Yeah.
Is the Grudge?
I think it's the Grudge.
Grudge.
Is it the Grudge?
Okay. So listen, there's a lot of influences. Now, the reason why these things is being done and they being thought of as possible, because it goes back to the features of what's on the PlayStation 5. So, put like this: the DualSense is different, and there's a lot of things that like we all don't know yet. But one thing in particular, Resident Evil 8 is a different type of horror game. Like, it's not a horror game where you play it and you got some jump scares and oh my god, the Tempest audio sound, everything that they was talking about.
Oh my god,
this is listen. It's like one thing that was mentioned. I'm not saying this is gonna be in RE8, but when it was mentioned, it's kind of a no-brainer. But with the audio that's in the PlayStation 5 and the way they designed it, you won't be able to you won't be able to do certain things unless you could pick up on sound.
What?
And that's yes, like you won't be able to do certain functions unless you pick up on certain sounds that you hear. Like, it's like sound is actually baked into a lot of the game. Man.
Oh my god.
This is what I'm saying. So,
oh my god.
So Resident Evil 8 is, that's why I said there's some truth to what you told me just now in terms of RE8 possibly showing up, because of it's supposed to be something that showcases the things you can do hardware wise on the PlayStation in terms of the controller and the sound. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like with Dead Space. It's certain games that's developed that you want to utilize to show off something so you can see what can be done to inspire other developers to use it instead of it becoming a gimmick.
That's true.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so RE8 is supposed to be one of those games that it's not just a game you play, but it's also a tech demo and such in sort of a way to inspire other companies to use what they're going to make huge in their game.
Wow.
And so if it were to be there, it's going to be more for the devs because there's no way for us, the consumer, to experience what. All right, I see what you're saying.
Wow.
I like what Unreal wanted to show what was capable, what their engine was capable of for everybody, because you can, I guess, get the engine for free and start.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Makes sense.
Yeah, so certain games that's like retail games you go to the store and buy. Yeah. Certain games, as amazing as they are, they put things in there to inspire other people to use. So, like, if you look at The Last of Us 2, like the accessibility options that's in Last of Us 2, they make it so that anybody can play it. You can be deaf and play this game.
What? Yeah, the accessibility, like over 60 of them. Like, bro, that is crazy, man.
So now, but one of the reasons why that's in that game is because the DualSense controller plays a major role in accessibility as well. Like, there's a reason why the microphone is there the way it is. There's a reason why. Listen to me. Xbox just came out not too long ago with the adaptive controller. Logitech, my partners, helped make that. Bro, when I tell you, listen, it's an industry thing. The industry is moving towards that as a whole. And the DualSense, what do you think that's about? Like the senses of us humans. Like
that's what I'm trying to tell them. Yes,
bro,
it's all about a Dove Bar soap controller. It's whack. It looks like the Xbox One controller. I'm like, bro, stop. Like, it's called DualSense for a reason. Idiots. It's called DualSense.
I don't disagree, but I'm interested in trying it out because they're talking about if you're driving, because a game like a Resident Evil or even Resident Evil 2, the sound is all around you, but it was designed like that. But can you imagine walking and then you hear birds and then you automatically look up to see the birds? It's like if you're in your car and a police car comes by, the siren is 360. So that's why when people try to find the siren, they're looking all over the place because the siren is designed to be at a 360 sound to be picked up. You know, that'd be cool.
It's crazy, man. So I'm just trying to give y'all as much information as I can so y'all can know like what's going on and the potential of things and where it's headed, man. So
Yo, and check this out. I wanted to ask you this because I love how you actually speak on that whole thing with Resident Evil 8. That's like the most detailed information that we've gotten about RE8, except for what Gollum has said. But now, here's my thing, because I've experienced it. My dad has played it. RE7, I dare anybody to play that game. You know what I'm saying? Entirely through VR. But I just felt like playing that through VR was a whole different experience I've never experienced before with the audio and everything. And it's funny how you mentioned the 3D audio, the mic on the DualSense hip hop, but what about, I know we know a little bit about it, but what about the freaking PSVR 2, man? Can you imagine that, like PSVR 2 with Resident Evil 8 and 3D audio? I'm done, son. I'm done.
Yeah, done.
My heart can't hold it. My heart can't hold it.
So one thing about the PS VR, I haven't got a lot of information on the VR2. I'm sorry, like
you good?
I'm trying, but I haven't got a lot of information on the PlayStation VR2. But here's something that I would say that I think is very, very interesting. So, one thing about VR is a lot of people they're trying to get it set up so you could see what's going on around you while you're in VR, but in terms of real life. So I'll give you an example, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think Red Infamy had told me this a while ago because I know she went to an event and I think she's seen this, but it's something that popped up again where when you have your VR headset on, you can't see what's around you in the world. You only see the video game.
Yeah.
So there's there's supposed to be an option with PlayStation VR 2 when you got the headset on.
Oh my god!
You can see a virtual version of the room you're in, so you can know where stuff is at. So like, I give you an example, right? Let's say your phone is on the right hand side, like on the table, and you can look at your phone, pick it up, read notes and everything, even though you got your headset on. So it's like you can see the real world around you, even with the headset on. And when it's and the thing is, it's like a mode or something like that. So even when you play in a game, you can easily, switch to that mode so you can see around you, so you don't have to take the helmet off to see what's going on around you.
Wow.
And I think that right there is going to be groundbreaking, and it's going to change things because it's kind of like Second Life in real life. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why I believe they have that is because there's some studies that's going on in hospitals and asylums and different places where they are looking to set it up to where you could talk to people in VR, even though you're not in the same room with them.
Yeah.
But their image will pop up and stuff like that. It's like we've seen this in movies and stuff like that before, but that tech is actually something real that they actually are
working on. What?
Yeah, it's not just movie stuff anymore. Like Minority Report is happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those things is real. And Chance, the co-creator of Call of Duty, he has a software that he's working on that does that right now.
Oh my god!
Like, he has a software that does that right now. I think it's called VR Room, or it's called Roomy or something like that. VR Roomy or something. But he has software that he's working on right now, and he's the co-creator of Call of Duty. I had him as a guest on the show not too long ago. So I'm just saying that these are programs and apps and things of that nature that's going to be very valuable for the PlayStation. So, yeah, man,
that is crazy. Now, let me we're going to jump on this other topic here of the PS5 cooling system, right? And I know a lot of crazy folks, I'm just saying they crazy. I ain't gonna say they stupid. I'm gonna say they crazy because for the longest time there was a lot of fake rumors, a lot of speculations going around about the PS5 overheating, even though Mark Cerny basically gave us a full rundown on everything that they're like doing as far as the architecture goes. But at the same time, people are still saying that, the PS5 is gonna overheat. Well, we just recently got the patent out for the dev kit, right? And I think it shows like it has like 6 fans in there, and it shows like the air going through the sides, through the back, and everything. And from what I'm hearing from someone with some inside sources, they're saying something like it's not gonna have 6 fans; it's only gonna have like 2 or 3 at the most. That's because of how different the design is from the actual dev kit. So anybody care to speak on the cooling system for the PS5 based off that patent and everything?
So well, based off the patent, what I think they're doing is they're giving each okay, so how can I say it? I want to say this the best way so y'all can understand where I'm coming from here. Yeah. So the way the system is supposed to be designed, it's like that. It's like separated inside. So you see how if you look at Xbox Series X, it's the first console that I believe has 2 motherboards in one, and they cool it a certain way. So I'm not saying that PS5 got 2 motherboards in one. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is the way their system is designed and the way it works with the materials in it, they have to cool it separately. So if you look at most PCs that's not liquid cooled, that uses fans, it's always up on one side, like the fans up against one side, and then it blows out the other way, and that's pretty much it. So with the PlayStation 5, which is very different, I never seen this before for a console. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure that when a game developer makes a game, they're not making it based off power consumption. Like, they want to make sure that the power consumption is done automatically through the cooling system, so they can make whatever they want to make. And the cooling system is like, I guess, intelligent. So it kind of tells the system that, hey, because they're doing this is the way you're going to run, and the clock is going to adjust here. So it's always cooled, so you always maximize performance. So I think the fans, the reason why they have to design it like that, they have to separate them so that when the wind is blowing, it could blow out properly, so that when a game is running at its peak, it doesn't overheat. Mark Cerny said this. I know I'm saying some things wrong, but Mark Cerny said it like the right way, where he was saying you don't want to make it where your system is powerful per watt consumption. If it's powerful, that's fine, but you don't want the consumption to go up as the demand of the game. I think that's how I'm saying. So if the game is extremely demanding, it doesn't matter. The cooling system itself will adjust to the demand of the game, so you don't got to worry about the power consumption. And I believe you're going to have three fans in that system. I believe it'll be like 3 fans in that system, not just one. So you won't get that crazy sound that you get, but it works according to how games are developed. So that's I think the right way to say it. If I made a mistake, even in the chat, if y'all looking up something and I made a mistake, please correct me. But I believe what I said was the accurate way to explain it.
Wow.
And the cooling system works fine. You have to understand, there has been a online attempt of a campaign, actually, of misinformation. And the reason why it exists is because they cannot have Xbox fall behind like they did this generation. I'm talking about their fanboys. And also, they truly do feel, let me make this clear, they truly do believe there was a campaign against Xbox last generation from the media. Even though it wasn't, but because they think the Xbox is the better machine, they think there was a campaign against Xbox. So they tried to start their own. That's why what Hip Hop Gamer said was 100% accurate, and he was on point with it. Sony hasn't really said a whole lot. They've sent the developers out there, and the developers are busting the cheeks of the fanboys. Everything from no VRS to no hardware tracing, and you can pull up articles from Activision to all these other developers, Remedy saying, "Oh, you're going to have ray tracing, you're going to have this," So that you just drop that in the conversation and you move on. So there is a misinformation campaign. Now it's about cooling. Again, what are we not talking about, Marlon? Games. It's about specs. It's about specs because they've been fighting specs. I'm telling you, since 2014. They wake up in the morning, think about how they can lie about specs. So it's just, this is who they're dealing with online. Not to mention they're going full retard on a bunch of other things. But at the end of the day, it's about, to them, it's a war about specs because they think something that's higher, something that has more numbers is better. It's just, this is the way they're programmed. So, but it is what it is.
And that's a horrible, let me just help y'all out, especially in the chat. That's a horrible way to look at like numbers. Just because you got more numbers does not mean your system is better. Xbox One X got more numbers than PS4 Pro, but PS4 Pro, when you look at Spider-Man and all this other stuff, I mean, it's no comparison.
No comparison.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna tell you like what really matters most. Like what really matters most.
Sad.
When it comes to game development, for the most part, from what I've been told, is the communication of how your architecture is designed. So for example, when you have like a pool of memory, right? Then you have to pull from that memory, and the GPU and the CPU got to take that and understand what you're trying to do in a fast way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's kind of like how we're doing this podcast right now, right?
Yeah.
When you push start to hit record, you need to make sure that the bandwidth is right. Like everything has to work in unison. Yes. So you can have a super great computer, or you can have a weak laptop. But if you set it up right, that weak laptop may outperform your the more powerful one. The main one. Think about it from a standpoint of phones. You can have an iPhone 11, but if you don't clear your memory out right or whatever,
your cache.
The iPhone 9, your iPhone 9 or the iPhone 8 can outperform your iPhone 11 simply because the way you're working it, the way you're operating, the way it's being used, or whatever. Certain things ain't clear. So what I'm trying to tell you is, do not let a number fool you, because that is the biggest misconception of all of these debates and of all of these arguments. I'm gonna tell you something that a lot of people missed. when Mark Cerny did his path the road to PS5, one thing that he said that remains for them is the cache scrubbers, right?
Yeah.
Cache scrubbers, I think it was L4 cache scrubbers in their memory. That's something that's unique to them. You will only see them have it. Remember, the AMD, the development was developed together. It wasn't developed just by AMD by themselves. It was developed together. And they said that if there's a certain GPU part that PC players will be able to pick up at the end of the year or the beginning of next year, that's something that came from PlayStation that they created for PC players to use. But there are certain things like the cache scrubbers that only works for the PS5 design that will remain only with the PS5 design.
Wow.
And the importance of
until RDNA 3 comes out.
The importance of the cache scrubbers and stuff like that is to be able to get rid of things that you don't need, so new information can always be in tandem with what you're trying to accomplish. Because before, you were like, remember when they talked about Spider-Man, how you got like a million mailboxes that always got to stay there throughout the entire game. You can't change things up and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. If that one little thing right there with cache scrubbers that nobody talks about plays a major role in what you can actually see and do and actually use in practice when you're playing the game.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yeah,
I agree on that to a certain point, though. On the cache scrubbers, what they're talking about on that is the rumor that was going around about RDNA 3 and PS5. Well, it's the cache scrubbers that Sony made that's going to go into RDNA 3.
Right. And I'm telling you, man, so what Sony has done, man, has been just as a gamer. Forget PlayStation versus Xbox for a way.
Yeah.
Just as a gamer.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta understand, my first system was Atari 2600.
Where's the fun in that? Nah, we can't do that.
No. We're gonna have that battle. I'm saying, but in terms of right now, we grew up with Atari 2600. Like, you know what I mean? Now we got PS5 coming. Like, I just seen so much growth and change in the industry that this is absolutely the biggest change ever. Like,
wow.
I can't wait, man.
Wow.
I'm excited, man.
Hey, let me let y'all know. This is Viper that just entered in. This is Messina. She used to work for Activision, so she knows a lot of information, on PS5, on the tech side of things and everything like that, as well as the Series X. So that's who is in here. She used to work for Activision.
Shout out to Viper. One love and God bless. How you feeling, superstar? What up?
I'm doing good. Just having a lazy day at home with the kids.
All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like I said, man, both systems are going to be great, right? But my whole thing is this. Okay, look at the PS5 event, right? We know that obviously Sony's going to be the first, hopefully the first, if it's not July, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this month, but they're going to be the first to show games running on the actual hardware of the PS5 of next generation. And so my whole thing is this, before we get to the next topic, what is Microsoft going to do? I think what they're going to do is obviously they're going to sit back and look at the PS5 event and be like, oh, they showed this. Okay. But I don't feel like they'll have enough time to make adjustments as far as what they're going to show. But I think as far as how the format is, I feel like they can actually learn something, from Sony and how they present stuff, because that Inside Xbox, I'm just going to call it like it is. That was terrible. Like literally, like I'm like, bro, like y'all could have done a way better job. And like I said, Sony's whole new slogan is quality over quantity, because what Microsoft gave us was what? Quantity. They showed us a bunch of trailers, a bunch of stuff. They talked. They had different segments where they had developers and everything talking and everything. But how about you give the developer or have the developer with a controller in their freaking hands playing the freaking game on the Series X so we can see it, so we can get freaking hype. There's
really no
true
vibe
hype.
of that whole show is the text at the bottom that said an expectation of gameplay.
That pissed me off so much.
That
I'm like,
really
really?
killed me. I was like, okay, so you can't show actual gameplay on the system, but
Like-
you guys have been first on everything, and you showed more so far hardware-wise.
That's what
And
I'm
the big
saying.
thing that everybody was looking for was AC Valhalla.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
even
You
AC
said
Valhalla
gameplay.
did show it.
You said gameplay, bruh. They after everybody was like, Microsoft, no, it's not gameplay. It's a cinematic trailer. It is. There's no way that this is. They still went out on Twitter and labeled it as gameplay. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And then Greenberg, shout out to Aaron Greenberg, met him before, cool guy, but dang, then he was retracking his steps and like, oh, we apologize. For a marketing guy, I'm like, come on, dog. You got to know the difference between gameplay and a freaking cinematic engine freaking trailer. Like, that's all we got.
You know what killed the hype
agree.
is when he said we will not mandate 60 FPS. I'm like,
Oh my god.
when he said that, I was okay, Aaron, don't do me any more favors, huh?
Well, I mean, he's being honest. They can't go.
Oh, yeah, he's true. That is true. He can't really,
That is
he
true.
can't really put out an expectation like that. But here's the thing. I don't expect you, at least especially if I go back a few months, you're going 4K 60, Xbox Series. You just tagging everybody and you tweeting that out left and right.
Yeah.
It's like, dog, you gotta be specific what you mean. So what do I take from that now? Them first party games, I mean, that'd be 4K 60 at this point. If that's what you're going about this, since 4K 60 is the way that you're hyping up, right? Okay,
Exactly.
I expect your first part to really be like that. As far as how they're going to do it, this is what's really going to happen. Marlon gave you the PG-13 reality. I'm going to give you the reality here, just going off of what you're seeing now, especially here. Microsoft is either going to adapt and really deliver on these first-party studios, or it's going to be back to square one with this gen.
Well, I don't
Facts.
disagree with that.
Facts.
I think they will deliver because they have to deliver, and I think they'll be fine. I hate the fact that there's a group of fanboys. Some of them have Southern accents that are leading people down this chopping block of the way things are going to be. That's why they're so disappointed with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's because they believe what the fanboys are saying instead of just kind of listening to the developers and what to expect, especially early on in the generation. Just you have to temper your expectations. Now 3 years from now, the next Assassin's Creed, that I would be shocked if that's not 60 on the consoles. But if you want to play Valhalla at 60, you're gonna have to play it on PC. It's the same with Cyberpunk.
Now, my big question here is that Microsoft has the marketing rights to AC Valhalla. However, PlayStation Universe showed a cover with AC Valhalla on it. Now, what's the chances on the PlayStation third-party reveal games played on the PlayStation 5 that's going to be shown? Do you think they're going to show Valhalla on it?
If they did that, I'll be on the floor. I've said this. I'll be on the floor laughing. I don't even care if I'm at work. If I were to see that and it's running on the PS5 after them not having the marketing rights, I will be on the floor laughing. I don't think they will, but it's something to think about. That's all I can say. It's but who knows? Maybe it doesn't work like that.
It's definitely possible. There's also really the highest chance in terms of games running on Series X that I can see them really advertising and showing so far is Cyberpunk.
Oh, Madden should. They'll probably show that Madden commercial, and I'm pretty sure that's EA Play. They were going to show Madden running on the Series X. I'm really confident in saying that. So, because they've got the marketing deal. Just like when you see FIFA, that will more than likely be on the PS5.
Yeah.
More than likely, air quotes.
My bad. And that's why I was saying I was really disappointed. Because I was hoping that Madden, I was hoping it was gonna at least show Madden, Craig. Like, I mean, Microsoft always be backing up Madden. Like, I think they have some type of partnership, right? So I'm like, you didn't show anything. 2 seconds.
Microsoft has a deal with the NFL. That's why they have the Microsoft Surface. They always show that on the sidelines. This is brought to you by Microsoft Surface tablet. But their problem was that I had with the Madden thing that they showed was that they showed last year's cover guide. This year's cover guide wasn't even. They could have at least shown that in motion for 10 seconds or 20 seconds. They showed the kid out of Kansas City. Is it the new cover athlete Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore? Well, they didn't even show that. So it's just that, that show was messed up. Everybody was disappointed. Microsoft apologized. I mean, so it's hopefully they get it right in July. They have to get it right in July, and I think they would.
Yeah, most definitely on that one. I mean, to be honest with you, like I said before, they have to get it right, bro. They have to get it right. I mean, they don't have a choice. I mean, the fact that you come out the gate, you didn't show no real gameplay. Don't give me the old Gears 5 beefed up version that was on PC showing that it's running on Series X. Don't give me Minecraft with ray tracing, bro. I need to see gameplay. I need to see true gameplay showing that you got the most powerful box, right? I mean, that's what you guys are bragging about. That's what you guys bragged about this generation and flopped miserably was power. Power. Microsoft's thing is power. That's all they talk about is power. And I'm like, bro, you need quality AAA exclusive titles that are going to showcase what these boxes can do, right? So, I mean, honestly, I'm just hoping for their sake that they learn their lesson from this huge backlash with the Inside Xbox, and then we could be blown away for July. Because honestly, Halo Infinite, I already heard from some people that's going to take up majority of the freaking show. Yeah, Halo, because they got to go over the campaign. They're going to be talking about all the different modes. Then they're going to talk about the multiplayer, right? So they're going to take their precious time to talk about that and, showcase what the Series X can do and all of this. And then they're going to show the rest of the stuff that they have, right? But my whole thing is you got 15 plus new studios. And the thing that people are overlooking is that Matt Booty, he had an interview with Game Informer, right? And when I saw that interview, I was like, bro, are you freaking kidding me? How is it that you need me to have faith in the Xbox brand when you're talking like this? He was like, well, let me just get one thing out there right now. I don't want people to have this high expectations this holiday season for the Series X. He was like, don't expect any 60 to 90 hours experience, right? Because the games that you guys are going to be getting is going to be AA games, like for indie, some indie stuff, and also Game Pass stuff as well. And he said that it's AA games that they're trying to scope into AAA games. And I was like, oh my God, bro. Like, I need to see, bro, it's time, bro. It's time.
Well, here's the big wall they're going to slam into. The big wall they're going to slam into is how they're going to code the game. They still have to make sure that the games are backwards compatible to Xbox One. They also have to make sure that the games are backwards compatible to old PC hardware. That means 7200 RPM hard drives. That means DDR4 memory, and so forth. So you're talking about all this stuff being, having to be built for lowest common denominator. So basically, you're getting an Xbox One game with an Xbox Series X graphic packet.
Wow. And
just to add to what Cryptic just said.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, man, the interview that I did recently with Second Extension, and like I said, that'll be out next week, man. But something very, very key is I was like, when it comes to game development for the next generation and stuff like that, is there anything that that's holding you back? Because that's what a lot of fans were saying. Or can we get, everything at its full level? Like, will it look like what we've seen in that video and stuff like that? And now think about it. It looked good, but like, there's games on PS4, like, Pro, that look better than what we saw with the dinosaur game that we saw.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, but it does look good. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I'm just saying the point I'm trying to make is when I asked that, it's very interesting that he said that there is like what Cryptic just said.
Yeah.
There will be compromises that they got to make, and they're targeting that, and hopefully they'll get better than that. And that was referring to Xbox Series X. I don't know what to say, but the problem
we've already had an Xbox dev come out and complain about having a code for older hardware on first-party titles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So Cryptic, like, because Cryptic knows what you're talking about. Like, that's a problem, man. Because see, here's the problem. your words is not matching what we're gonna see.
See?
And when Sony shows, I'm gonna tell you, like when Sony shows off, there's 2 games in particular that I'm looking forward to at this particular reveal. And when those 2 games are shown, after that, then comes August. But I'm telling you, there's 2 games in particular, and when those games are shown, Microsoft, July, they have to have something that's an answer to that first party wise. If not, this is going to be a long, hard pause, but there's going to be a long, hard marketing battle to convince people of the 12 teraflops and everything that you was talking about before. Cryptic, I would love for you to speak, towards that too. I mean, if you want, but I'm telling you, if they don't have something to show up, remember, they're responding back to what Sony is going to do first. Yeah. And if your response ain't as strong as your words, you're going to be eaten alive. What you think of that, Viper?
Well, as Spencer said, all the first party games are going to be cross-gen for the first 2 years before they start doing exclusives for the Xbox Series X. But then again, they're not exclusive because they're also on PC as well. So we got that issue going on. And even with PC, you still have to program to the oldest common hardware.
Wow.
So we have that issue going on with Xbox. So will they have great titles? I'm sure they will. If there's going to be any Xbox Series X exclusives, it'll be coming from third party.
Jesus have mercy. And this is why I say, because I don't know if you guys saw on the Xbox Wire, they put out that statement. I think they were trying to throw jabs at Sony. They really was trying to hurt Sony on this one with the backwards compatibility. And they were saying that every Xbox game like that was released in the past, you would be able to play it on the Series X with upgraded visuals, 4K 60, some of them 4K 120. And they kind of spend so many hours trying to make sure that everything is going to run well, because the biggest problem, right, with the whole situation with backwards compatibility, even on 360, like they just had like a list of games that could work, right? And at the same time, some of them wasn't really like optimized correctly, but apparently now it is. And I'm like, that's cool, because that's their biggest thing now against Sony. And I know Sony's going to come out with their whole backwards compatibility situation, but their biggest thing now against Sony is backwards compatibility. And I'm like, bruh, like y'all need to chill. Like seriously, y'all don't know what Sony is getting ready to do, because right now everybody's like, oh, it's just PS4. It's just PS4. And I'm like, bro, Sony has something up their sleeves for backwards compatibility. You just wait and see. Because since Microsoft put out that statement, a lot of people was like, oh, I'm getting a Series X now just because I can play original Xbox games 4K 60. I'm like, bro, it does not work that way. Like how they're wording.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. But I do. Hey, shout out to
so far.
Yeah, shout out to everybody here. I do have to go to the grocery store. This woman is chomping at the bit. We got to eat some hamburger. But guys, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it 1,000%. Everybody on the panel here. I'm sorry, I do have to cut out. But
hey, you good?
Anytime,
I do
apologize.
See you later, Craig.
Yeah, but yeah, everybody here, man. But please stop by my podcast. But when you do, you better bring the 52 CUs, because if you don't have those, you're not getting in. So,
There's only Xbox knew how to use them.
The hip hop gamer, man, keep up the good work. Shout out to you and your queen, Big Cloud. You know where to find me. Crypto Viker, nice to meet you. Marlon, man, keep up the great work. Your podcast come on when I'm at work, so that kind of helps get me through the day. So keep it up, brother. And you all stay safe and stay blessed.
You too, bro. Take care. Take care, Craig. But yeah, like I was saying, it's like they have to find a way to give us something solid, something that's going to stick in July. Yes, backwards compatibility is cool and all, but I need to see something that is going to blow me away. You guys need to go back to that 360 formula. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, your words have to match what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And it's like right now, I don't know, man. I'm not getting too hype because I have to inside Xbox. I'm just kind of like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to low key watch what Microsoft is going to be doing, because it's like they feel like because they have all these studios and everything that means anything. Remember last E3 2019, how disappointing that joint was? And I'm like, bro, you had Halo Infinite on stage and you didn't show no gameplay. How many chances they had to really show gameplay? And all they did was show that cinematic in-game engine cutscene crap. And I'm like, bro, we need to see gameplay. We need to see gameplay. And then that talk came up about Halo Infinite in trouble during development and everything like that. They had their chance. Honestly, my opinion, at the Game Awards, they should have showed Halo Infinite at least 2 minutes. Something, you know, to kind of get people hyped to bring back the X, bro. Like, they had so much different chances to really blow people away, but it's just, I don't know, man. But like I said, my last chance with Microsoft is freaking July. Go ahead, Hip Hop.
Yeah, and that's the biggest issue right there. Like, they had so many chances and didn't do what they needed to do with them, and now all of this information is coming out and it's making you question you know, what the capabilities are.
Yeah, of the box. Yeah. Now we're gonna jump on this next topic here, Bloodborne. Okay, and we've been hearing rumors about this before, but this one is like more in detail. This one got the whole industry talking about it, and we'll get to the super chats after, guys. Don't worry. Now this is a YouTuber. He actually came out and said that he have his sources and everything like that, and that his sources are legit, right? And he don't believe that they're incorrect on this, but he said that Bloodborne is going to be a remaster for PlayStation 5 and PC, right? And it's going to be 4K 60 with ultra wide support or something like that. Now, anybody care to speak on that? Because honestly, I know a lot of people was expecting Bloodborne 2, and also with the backwards compatibility portion of the PS5, right? With a game like Bloodborne, they said that it's not going to be one of the games that's going to truly benefit from the backwards compatibility, that is going to just be 4K 30 and not 4K 60, or it's not going to get any sort of like visual upgrade or frame rate boost from the PS5. So I'm kind of confused because I'm kind of like,
so
go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan. You going first before Hip Hop? Go ahead.
I'll go. Yeah, so I'm confused by it. They're saying that the boost mode in general will do nothing to the game. Right out the bat, that's red flags coming off for this entire report, because the PS5 is again, they're the same architecture. First of all, the same architecture, like in terms of the same architecture. They're rocking x86 for PS5 and PS4. They're both PCs. So it naturally should automatically be updated by that. They don't need to actually remake the game to take full advantage of the assets, unless you're trying to push it full-fledged as a PS5 exclusive type of thing, where you're pushing. RDNA,
I agree. The RDNA 2 machine learning should automatically upscale it.
Yeah, so that's the weird part. So if you're like trying to like go all out and trying to like give us something similar to what you saw with the Unreal Engine demo type of thing where Bloodborne, then that doesn't make sense at all. And on top of that, again, I know a lot of people want Bloodborne 2, but there is a possibility you might get it, but at the same time, there's the harsh reality that we might not get it. And the reason why I say we might not get it, if you guys look around what's going on, especially the stories that we've been covering, Castlevania looks to be their game they're going to use to fill in the void for that. They're already talking about a Castlevania Bloodborne style game, and that's been reported on numerous times.
Well, on the Bloodborne game, what I can see them doing on a remaster on it is updating the game engine for better AI to take advantage of the PS5 native mode, as well as putting in a better graphics pack.
Hip Hop?
Yeah.
I
heard about the rumors, but I ain't hear about it from certain people that I need to hear it from. So it don't mean nothing to me. I don't even know. That joint's a dead zone. Like I'm not saying that Bloodborne ain't coming to PC. That's believable. I can see that. This whole remaster this never.
It don't even make sense. Like that defeats the purpose of the backwards compatibility of the PS5. Like, I mean, it just makes sense.
Exactly. But on top of that, from a rumor standpoint, there's interesting things happening with that particular franchise. That's all I can say. So hearing this seems very off from other things.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier, on the backwards compatibility of the PS5 to PS4, yes, it'll get a machine learning upgrade if it's running in native mode, but it's still not the same as redoing the game engine to upgrade the AI to take advantage of the PS5 native mode. Wow. It'll be a completely different gameplay.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly. Because remember I told you it's mode. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what makes the architecture so unique in the way Sony did their thing. It's a particular mode that it runs in. You got your native mode, you got your legacy mode. You'll see how it all comes out. How it works the way. Yeah, you'll see how it comes out, but that's the way that it works. I'm telling you. So just like what Cryptic said, it's like there's some things that's off about that, especially from things that I've heard and seen myself. So,
yeah, because here's the crazy part. Right, is that also they said better textures, right? Higher resolution, and I think it was something else that they mentioned, but it was a lot of other things, a lot of other benefits to this remaster, and I'm like, well, that still doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, on the remaster, you can also code in to the game engine the new RDNA2 features for ray tracing, the VRS, so forth, machine learning, and so forth.
That's true. So if they went that route and stuff like that, then I could see in terms of them going in and calling it a remaster because of that. I mean, I could see that some kind of way, but for the most part, that's just, I'm taking a wait and see approach on that. I don't really got much to say on it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, when I speak on things, I try to have as much concrete information.
Yes.
Or I'll come out and say, yo, 100% is this.
Let's
go. And I stand by it, and like that. Because what's crazy is like we just recently seen it happen. Like when Jeff Grubb came out and said, hey, like, June 3rd is the actual date, but it could change and stuff like that. And he was the day off. Like, technically, it probably was supposed to be June 3rd and things like that's the nature of the business. But obviously, we know that he was, right on the money when it came down to that situation. So what I'm saying is those things happen like that in the industry, and I get it. But in a situation like this, I don't have confidence in it like that.
Facts, especially when it's not coming from credible source like Jason Schreier or Jeff Grubb or somebody with some sort of like kind of a legacy of catalog of getting things right, you know what I'm saying, or Jeff Keighley or something like that. Being in the
industry or putting I'm big on accountability, so if somebody say anything, I want to see your face. Like, I want to know who you are.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
True. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, because you otherwise you're just putting false hope in people's heart, you know what I'm saying, and getting them all hyped up and pumped, and then when it comes down to it, it's kind of like, this is not happening. Just like with the backwards compatibility stuff, hip hop, like how many times have you were one of the first people to put that information out there, like, you know what I'm saying, before everybody else actually come out and start talking about backwards compatibility, like you literally showed your face and you stand firm on it. And you said, hey, look, the PS5 is going to be fully backwards compatible. And some people don't believe it. You know what I mean? Some people are like, oh, no, hip hop blowing smoke. He a fraud. He this and that. I'm like, yo, did you check this man's credibility?
They don't know my track record. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, this dude is my brother, man. Like I've been knowing hip hop since 06. Like we go way back, so I know what hip hop is capable of. For people on the outside who don't know, they're like, "Oh, he a fraud. Oh, he don't know what he talking about. Oh, he just." I'm like, bro, y'all just wait and see, because he would not stick his neck out there for something that he's not firm on. Why would he do that? You know what I'm saying? So. It's just
a lot of people retract their statements super early. Like hip hop never retracts.
I ain't retracting.
You don't reach out enough. They'll tell you. They'll tell you.
And
Why did you quote go? Well, I didn't say this, so you know, I'm like,
no, I ain't crafting nothing.
Yeah.
What I would say.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My take on the backwards compatibility is this: given what we know about the architecture shown by Sony so far, it's going to have PS4 and PS5 native on the PS5.
Yeah.
But the issue is programming languages for the PS1, PS2, and PS3. Sony used a proprietary language on PS1 and PS2. They use a cell language for the PS3. Okay, and that was a nightmare to code for. So the only way PS5, since they're not putting in the processor chips for PS2 and PS3 onto the CPU, the only way it's going to have backwards compatibility is if they have an emulation mode.
Yeah.
So, and that goes back to my other point. This is what I done said so much about this, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna just I'm gonna say something this, and I want to see if you what you think of this too, Piper. I'm gonna say this because I haven't said this nowhere else, so I'm gonna just say this, right?
Exclusive.
So for those that know or don't know, if you look at PlayStation Now, right?
Oh.
And how is PlayStation Now done? PlayStation Now is done because they have 8 PS3s on one server blade to be able to run PS Now. Okay? So how is it that PS4 is on PS Now when it's powered by PS3? Different PS3s. So now that's one. I'm putting stuff out there for y'all to think. That's one. Then two, PS4, excuse me, what's the name?
PS Now works as a streaming service. So basically it's a virtual emulator that's online. So you use a PS3 streaming and so forth. However, everybody's saying PS5 is going to be able to be backwards compatible native, and the only way to do that is through emulation on console.
So what I'm saying is this. Now, the second thing that I was gonna say is they just made an announcement in terms of like PS Now confirmed on PS5. Like I told y'all before, like that should go without saying, right? So now if you go back and look at my man Eric, I hate saying his last name because I know I'm gonna get it wrong, but Eric Hutchie, they call it the Hutchie method, like Hoochie method, whatever it is, stuff like that. He talked about, and they even showed how like with the Xbox they had like a virtual version of the Xbox 360. So when you ran like a 360 game on Xbox One or Xbox One X, it's tricking the system to make you think that you're using an actual Xbox 360 system when you're actually not, and you getting those textures and all those other things and stuff like that. So that's like what the Xbox is doing for their backwards compatibility.
The issue on that is that it's all x86 architecture.
Right.
It's all C++ programming, whereas PS1 and PS2 use Sony proprietary programming language, completely different than C++.
Exactly.
And then you also have Cell for PS3, which is way different than C++.
Yep. So now here comes the other part. So you see how just like on a PC, if you play a PS1 emulator, a PS2, or PS3 on PC, and stuff like that, how they was able to take the cell processor and make it work on x86 and do these things, even though they manipulated the whole system and stuff like that. That relates.
And what they do on that is they extract. They extract the cell processor, and they extract the decompression code that they have in there in order for the game to operate, and then they put it into a virtual machine emulator.
So what I'm trying to tell y'all is what they created, with Mark Cerny and all of them, what they created something where they're able to take PS1, PS2, PS3, and take the logic that makes the application understands what it's being ran on and mimic that within the architecture of the system now. And that's the way, that's one of the ways it was broken down to me. And when I saw what I saw, like I told you, I was like, yo, then I got the green light to put it out. But like I said, we'll wait and see. I'll tell you this though, it seems like every time somebody says something about backwards compatibility, something just miraculously pops up about it. We had
I'm not saying PS5. I'm not saying PS5 will not have backwards compatibility. What I'm saying is that if PS5 has backwards compatibility, Sony would have to build an emulator into it or a virtual machine in order to emulate those operating systems.
Yep. And
sort of like the what was it? The
we gonna see. Yo,
the 80 gig PS3. Y'all remember that with the emulation?
Yeah. You had because the thing is, the first one had the PS1 and PS2 chips in it. The second one had the PS2 chip, and then they just emulated PS1 and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Through emulation.
Yeah.
Well,
the PS2 chip can run PS1 natively because they're in the same programming language.
Exactly.
So that wasn't a big issue there. What it was when they removed the PS2 chip out, they put an emulator in that was supposed to cover PS2 and PS1, but unfortunately the PS2 was too stressful for the PS3, so the emulation only ran PS1.
Right. So I'm telling y'all, I'm like, when this,
man,
when all of this comes, and then what's so funny, like I told y'all before, I'm not sure if any of your fans or whatever went and checked it out.
Yeah.
But even if you go back and look at the 2013 reveal and what David Perry was talking about, in terms of making sure there's a system where you can have PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4 games all ubiquitous on one platform. That's the overall goal. It's already been financed, greenlit, and everything. And you will see. That's all I know. That's all I can tell you. You will see 100%.
Check
like
this.
I didn't get no calls or messages saying anything different that would make me make a video to change my statement. So like I said before, 100%.
100%. Let's get it. Gang, we are here. Let's go.
Go
now, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So another thing that I was gonna say, is when they talked about the legacy modes, like with the PS4 Pro, and PS4. Remember, architecture is architecture, but they're still two different systems. You know what I'm saying? Because the way they perform. And when you see the boost mode in PS4 Pro and all this other stuff, those are
super sampling on.
Those are minor things to the bigger picture. So that's what I'm trying to tell people. When PS5 come out, it's gonna be something that's industry-wide changing across the board. Games, features, the whole everything. This is a masterpiece of a system that Mark Cerny and the team created. Telling you, I can't wait,
man. It's gonna be legendary, man. At the end of the day, it's gonna blow us all away. And now the next topic here, and this is gonna spark a lot of conversation because everybody I don't know what it is. People just want the PS5 to look bad because the PS5 strongest thing right now that almost every developer is talking about, besides it being easier to develop for, is the SSD, right? And so Linus, he literally called out Tim Sweetney and said that, hey man, that's not true about the SSD. You know what I'm saying? Being the fastest, there's some PCs out here with faster SSDs. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, do you even realize what he's saying? And then he retracted his statement and everything and made a whole video on it. I'm like, bro, like people just don't understand the level of innovation when it comes to the PS5. Because people will say, oh, the SSD, that doesn't mean nothing to me. I mean, you're still going to need the RAM and you're still going to have to pull from the RAM rather than the SSD. I'm like, bro, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. The SSD, why you think? Go ahead.
Not at 22 gigs per second compressed. I mean, that's streaming almost real time on every asset that's coming off the SSD.
Wow.
That's scary.
And that's also fast enough. That's also fast enough to run the operating system on the SSD and keep game as a save state live. So like that way, when you drop out of a game, you still have the games live blown up from the SSD. So I mean, the SSD is going to be fast enough to run the OS. That means the 16 gigs of memory on board are going to be unified for games.
Yo,
Wow.
I'm about to tell you to say it again. Because people need to hear this, man. I'm like, yo, Subi, I don't think people. It's crazy.
You're looking at an SSD. Standard SSD setup is 3 channels with 1 coprocessor on board in order to transfer the information. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at SSDs anywhere from 2.5 gigs per second to 7 gigs per second on the market right now.
Right.
But Sony's controller card is 12 channels, not
12
3.
channels.
Wow.
It's got 2 coprocessors, which also back channels to the SSD. So, it can stream information directly to the GPU, CPU, and RAM simultaneously. It's got no bottlenecks there. It's complete I/O throughput on a 4.0 PCIe.
You know what it's like?
The triangles. Remember the triangles in the demo for Unreal?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. Let them know.
Oh no, I'll just say, you remember the triangles on the screen when they was talking about how they can process so much more and all that on the world. They were showcasing that in full detail live.
Live on hardware. But I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna make it simple for the hood to understand.
That with like the next Uncharted or Last of Us and those type of assets being pushed to the max. Keep in mind, they weren't pushing the system to the max.
Yeah,
this is early.
So funny is that wasn't even the final hardware. I'm scared.
Exactly.
I'm scared. So I'm gonna make it so like the hood understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? So imagine if you drive. I'm from New York. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you driving in Brooklyn or you driving in Manhattan. So let's say in Manhattan you got tons of traffic. You can't go nowhere. If you're driving in Brooklyn, you got bumps and potholes everywhere. Like PlayStation's SSD eliminated all traffic and eliminated all potholes. You can just drive and go as fast or slow as you want. You do whatever you want. There's nothing there stopping you. So all you got to do is just think about what you want to do and do it without no worries of anything holding you back that used to hold you back in previous generations.
Well, I mean, it can stream the asset straight from the SSD to the GPU to screen. So, I mean, there's no bottlenecks there. It's just straight throughput. It's just instantaneous. 4K 60, 4K 30, 1440, 60, whatever. It'll stream it straight on through.
Wow.
That's scary, man.
That is crazy.
So, I got a question for Viper real quick though. So my question to you real quick, Viper, is how, when you first saw the Unreal Engine 5 demo and just all the information that you know of the PlayStation 5, just from a tech standpoint and from just a fan standpoint of games, how did you respond to this? How did you feel about it? You know what I mean, when you and found out about it?
Well, I was blown away by the architecture. My main thing wasn't the lighting and stuff like that, because we know Ray Trace can do that, and RDNA 2 has got that built in. What I was blown away by was the asset streaming straight in of all the triangles going straight to the geometry processor for the variable for the simple shading and VRS being put in by the GPU, and then streaming to screen real time.
Wow.
So I mean, you're talking about millions upon millions, if not billions, of triangles streaming straight from the SSD to the geometry engine to the screen real time. That's a lot of throughput. And I mean, that's almost completely bypassing the RAM on board. They're using the SSD for VRAM, 22 gigs per second compressed, streaming through the GPU and the geometry engine.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna break it down, in the hood way too, so you can understand what this really means.
Yeah.
So when I got an RTX 2080 Ti, right? You know what I'm saying? And that has that's 11 gigs of VRAM, if I'm not mistaken, right? Viper, that's 11 gigs, right?
Yeah.
Of VRAM, right? So that's 11 gigs of VRAM, right? What PlayStation, now just to let you know how important VRAM is, because if you run out of VRAM and stuff, your whole game is stuttering and messing up. It ain't
choppy,
it's gonna be choppy, everything, right? No matter what system you got.
Yeah, and so, PS5 is running 16 gigs of GDDR6.
16 gigs of GDDR6.
16
gigs of GDDR6. Not only that, the SSD.
Yeah. And your video card's running what? GDDR5?
Yeah. So
what?
Think about that for a second.
16 gigs of I did not. Let me clean out my ears. Say it again for them.
16 gigs.
The system got 16 gigs of unified RAM. That means all the RAM is dedicated. So that means when you run up a game, it's got 16 gigs going straight to the game. The OS is offloaded to the SSD.
Oh my God, have mercy.
And then because of the throughput of the SSD and the bottlenecks being gone, that 16 turns into a lot more real quick because you can just utilize the SSD for it.
It just depends on how much the game is going to allocate from the SSD for VRAM.
That's it.
Wow.
So whatever you need to pull in, you have it there, so there's no bottlenecks. You don't got.
And this is separate from the SSD. This is separate from the CPU and the GPU. So the CPU and the GPU don't even have to work that hard because you got all that RAM right there, the VRAM, and then you got the SSD, which is like pretty much doing a lot of the work. Wow,
it's not so much CPU and GPU doing less work. What it is that it's going to have instant access to the information to process it fast.
That's
so with the smart shift, right?
Remember when I told you about the analogy where, like, you know, if you dating your girl or something like that, y'all got great communication. Yeah, great communication creates better performance. But let me tell you this even better. Let's say you doing something right, and let's say a problem pops up. The faster you get a chance to know about a problem, the faster you can solve it, the faster you can fix it. So what she's saying is because of the throughput, you can get access to the information faster instead of that information being idle. See, the thing is, what Mark Cerny was saying before is, let's say you got 16 gigs of RAM, but you can only use 3 of it at a time because the information can't get to me fast enough to get the other stuff, so it's breaking my game. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's the difference in terms of the architecture now, in terms of any other time before in generations of gaming. This is it's over.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. We got a $5 super chat for Viper. It says, Viper, can you estimate the amount of triangles able to stream in that would push it over the capabilities of the PS5 GPU ability? Any comparable GPU? I'm guessing he's asking, like, is there any like GPU that's comparable to the PS5 GPU?
Honestly, I couldn't answer that because it depends on the game engine, number one.
Yeah.
But on the Unreal 5, they're streaming in over 1 billion triangles, which ran through the geometry engine, which, cut out, about maybe half to 2/3 of them for display purposes, and then streamed over, anywhere from 10 million to 100 million on screen at a time.
Wow.
So I mean,
Jesus.
So I mean, it's got all that throughput coming in, and it just depends on your point of view and where you're looking, because it's going to stream those triangles in as you're turning and looking. Wow. So I mean, it's not preloaded; it's streaming in straight from the SSD.
Wow, that's insane.
Because remember, let's say you build a world, right? And let's say you got like 40 houses, and within these 40 houses, you have there's things built inside them. So like with the SSD, it's like that, like you only gonna process what you see because it's that instant, whereas before everything, even if you didn't see it, still had to be in there and pre-baked in there. You know what I'm saying? So
what you see on the screen is going to be different than what's on the SSD and RAM. So what you're seeing in the SSD and RAM is going to have all the assets, all the textures, everything pre-rendered, pre-generated, waiting to go. And when it streams out to the CPU, GPU, and to the geometry engine, it's going to cut everything out except for what you see on the screen.
Wow, that is insane.
Think about all the power that remember when I told you it's only using what it needs to use. It's crazy. This
freaking crazy. And okay, so let me ask both of you guys this. Okay, so like, for instance, let's be real here. We know it's coming. We know it's happening. And I heard something earlier today that Sony and Rockstar has some type of partnership going on, but it's not GTA 6 related. But what about Grand Theft Auto 6? Right now with this SSD, okay, I think that this article that I saw recently where they were saying that games are going to look better on PS5 in a limited way, and it's because of obviously everything that the devs are going to be doing, especially on the PS5 because of the Series X and how they're able to achieve that visual fidelity. But how open world games are going to be changed forever with PS5 in mind? That's what I really want to ask, because like Grand Theft Auto, you know, there's a lot of buildings, right? And it pretty much is like all duplicates, right? They duplicated all these different buildings to get them to, you know, render and everything like that. But how is the SSD going to play a big role with open world games like Grand Theft Auto? That's what I really want to know. Like, am I going to be able to go in any freaking building and interact with, you know, everything inside? Or how is it going to be, instead of like duplicating the same assets over and over again? You know what I mean? Just to fill the world.
Again, that's going to be all on the developer end on that, and the game engine, what the game engine can provide. But as far as the SSD goes, if you've got the assets for the game in there, you only need to have one copy of an asset, no matter how many times it is in the world. You only need to have one asset for that. So that's going to reduce game size quite a bit.
Woo! So there we go.
I mean, like if you're looking at Spider-Man on the PS4, like Sony said, they've got 500 mailboxes when there's only like 36 in the game.
Wow.
But you know, they got 500 assets on the hard drive for it to read and seek in order to place that mailbox in the game right then. With the SSD, you only need to have one mailbox, and it'll duplicate 35 times on the screen without any extra calls.
Wow.
So
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. But like, here's what I would say, because I do got to run, Marlon.
Yeah.
But here's what I would say: the whole Grand Theft Auto thing, in terms of performance of games, based off, you know, Rockstar and their, you know, history and their engine and stuff like that, I think it's gonna be massive, and they may lean towards PlayStation more in terms of, I mean, they already did when you see Red Dead Redemption from a marketing standpoint. So I can see them definitely being a great marketing partner for them and leading the way with that. That's one. But what I would say is, I don't think there's anything exclusive. Like, you know, the game's going to come out on everything at the same time. But I do believe that it will be a monumental moment, because I believe that that's one of those games where people will clearly see which console is superior, because Rockstar Games is the type of company where they don't have to like appease anybody. They know they got something that's fire, and you're gonna buy it and you're gonna love it, so shut up and take it. Like that's the way Rockstar is gonna roll. So they don't feel the need to, well, I'm gonna hold my game back because this other platform can't do. Nah, I think that whatever they can maximize, they're gonna maximize, and the results is the results. And I believe that's gonna be a major turning point when people see the importance of what this revolutionary memory architecture that Sony has built is gonna change gaming. That's my thoughts on it.
That's kind of where program scaling comes into effect. Okay, we're going to have a super ultra fast SSD that's going to take 1 or 2 years before any other company develops a controller card that's going to even match the speed of the I/O of the PS5.
Wow.
Okay, so if you're looking at it from that aspect and stuff like that, they maximize the game and stuff like that for PS5 for the streaming of the assets, for the I/O of the game, for the huge generation of the world. The graphics may not be as great as the Xbox Series X, but it can put more in the world faster than the Xbox Series X, and it can put more amounts in there.
But you're missing one thing though. You're missing 12 T-flops.
Okay. Well, it's got 12 T-flops of power. It doesn't mean that it uses 12 T-flops.
Thank you so much. People are so stupid, man.
Touching on the 12 T-flop thing and stuff like that, let me shoot this at you, hip-hop gamer. Let me run you through a logic lesson here. Okay.
Let's go.
All right, hardware logic lesson. Okay, comparing architectures. All right. Now, what we know of the Xbox Series X is that it has a 3D Atmos audio chip on the system.
Right.
Okay. Has Xbox said anywhere that the Atmos chip has an RT core in it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, they've been quiet on that now. They just strictly told you the big numbers.
No. Okay. But yet they are advertising. They're advertising 3D spatial ray traced audio on the Xbox Series X. So what's the only component on board the systems that got ray traced cores on it?
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
The GPU.
The GPU. Wow.
The GPU.
Hold up. Nah, because what you're getting at, like, this is interesting because I don't recall them saying. I don't recall them saying that because with the RC core, like that's interesting.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry, but it's just very interesting that you said that. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Xbox Series X has a 3D Atmos audio chip on board that's going to work in tandem with the GPU for ray traced audio. That means those 52 cores are not going to be 52 cores for games. It's going to be 52 cores of power that it can allocate to different systems. So that means the GPU is going to be providing some of those ray traced cores to 3D spatial audio.
Wow.
For ray tracing.
Jesus. Wow.
All right. So now we just cut some of that 12.1 teraflops right there. All right. Now let's look at it from this angle also. Okay. Does the Xbox Series X have a geometry engine on it with a shader system built in?
No.
Well,
No.
Okay. So that means that the PlayStation 5 has got a geometry engine where it offloads the geometry and simple shading and works in tandem with the GPU for VRS.
Wow.
Where the Xbox Series X has to do it all on GPU.
Wow.
Since the Xbox Series X is doing more work on GPU, it loses some more teraflops there compared to the PlayStation 5.
Wow.
So the graphics are not going to be that far apart from each other.
See? I told him.
Yes, the Xbox Series X will have a slight advantage from the number of cores that it has to have slightly better graphics.
More 52 cores? Like that? Yeah.
So,
wow.
So check this out. I do gotta get ready to go, but I really gotta get this question in before I go.
Go ahead.
Because I love the way you just broke that down, Viper, for real. Like, that was crazy. So what I want to ask you is, PlayStation 4 Pro has less T-flops obviously than Xbox One X.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at Spider-Man and God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, all these games, like, they look better than Xbox. They look better than those games. I mean, like, by far, it's not even close.
PS4 was built with a symmetry between the hardware. Okay, so therefore it gets more performance out of the system than the Xbox Series X does.
Oh my god.
Not Series X, but the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X, they basically took a PC, threw it into a box, and when they went from the Xbox One to One X, they just upgraded the GPU and clocked it differently and sit there and said, "Oh, here's a new system." Because it's built like a PC.
Wow.
PlayStation is not. Right. PlayStation doesn't use a PC architecture on it. It uses PC programming, but not the same style of architecture or design. It's more performance based. They're not going for raw power. They're going for raw performance, which means speed and accessibility.
Jesus, so, I'm in school today.
Wait, hold on. So Viper, to be honest with you. Now, I'm gonna tell you something because this is something that was brought to my attention, but what you just said just made what was told to me even more profound. So, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, right? This is back in December. I was introduced to Quixel, and Quixel, I love Quixel. I've been talking about Quixel for the longest, and then when they finally showed the Unreal Engine 5 demo, I was like, yes, because I knew about Quixel for the longest. I've been studying it, right? So, when I was talking with a friend of mine, and they had said, "Yo, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is the equivalent to the Witcher 3 in terms of the cinematics. Like, if you look at the cinematics of Witcher 3 from a graphical standpoint, that can be achieved in real time on PlayStation simply because of the way they designed the architecture and how they don't have no bottlenecks and like the freedom of it. Like, and they told me this." And this was before the Sony thing, and then when the Sony thing came out, that's what made me so much more excited, because the things that he said was told to me, but Sony made it even more clear in his presentation. But this was told to me before. So now that I have this understanding, what I want to ask you is, looking at the Witcher 3 cinematics and just looking at how that looked and played, and based off the tech that you know of and what we've seen on Unreal, how realistic is that? Because from what I'm hearing and from certain things that I saw, is believable, man. That we're here at the uncanny valley, like they said. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, taking Witcher 3 into account, so it's got large maps and everything else. But comparing that to PlayStation 5 capability, and if they're doing Horizon Zero Dawn along the same lines of a complete open world, there won't be any borders. It'll just be a complete open world.
Oh my God. Jeez, my heart is
Talk
racing.
to y'all later. I'm out. I can't take this.
Hey, hip hop. Before you go, real quick, my heart right now. Hip hop. Before you go, I wanted you to inject something that you talked about with David Jaffe, right? I want you to ask Viper that, right? The same question you asked David Jaffe with. Please,
gotcha.
Ask him before you go.
All right, so Viper. So let me tell you what happened, right? I asked David Jaffe, based off what we saw with the Hellblade 2 trailer, because Phil Spencer said that it was an engine trailer at the Game Awards when he showed it off.
Yeah.
So when I asked David Jaffe, will we be able to play that game the way that looked, the way they showed that? Will we be playing that in real time? Will we be able to control it? He said, well, like when you got like 6 people on the screen and you're fighting, having action, and you're trying to get 60 frames per second, like of course no, you're not going to get that, but when you maybe at 30 frames per second, at 30 frames per second, you said it depends on the resolution. Okay.
If you drop down from 4K to 1440 or maybe even 1080, yeah, it can.
Okay. But you'll lose some of the fidelity, obviously.
Yes.
So basically what I'm gathering here is that Hellblade, what we saw, that in-engine trailer, yeah. So that's not possible, basically, right? 4K 60 or 4K.
In terms of looking at that level of quality, while you controlling the person, fighting other people, and just all the action on screen.
Wow.
No, that's David Jaffe said no. Like, what I'm saying, he said of course no, you're not gonna have that. That's what he said.
Yeah, cause she looks so freaking real, man. I mean, I
know that looks real. Like,
well, you got to remember the PS5 is gonna. If everybody's on a PS5, everybody's on a PS5, and they're all partied together and stuff like that. All 5 systems are going to be running at the same speed. They're going to be able to put out the same graphics at the exact same time. Wow. So the world generation is going to be identical. So all you're worried about now is internet connection between model characters.
Wow.
So now what about a game that's made only for PS5? We don't got to worry about nothing else but the PS5 and the PS5 only.
I'm not following on the question.
Oh no, what I'm saying is like games that's being made for PS5 only. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that they will be able to achieve something
similar to that,
like a Hellblade 2 in action, like you play something that looks that real on the PS5 if it's made for PS5 only? Whatever
Definitely.
that game is.
Wow.
Definitely, the image fidelity is only going to be slightly better on the XSX, because of the RT cores that it has. But like I said, a lot of those RT cores are going to be dedicated for doing other tasks, stuff like that. So the graphical fidelity will be just slightly better on the Series X. But as far as gameplay goes, the PS5 can stream in more assets and stuff like that. So, I mean, everything that you're seeing on screen can be streamed in real time.
Oh my God.
So I mean, the graphic. So it just depends on the texture packs that they put into it. They can be streamed real time into the game. So I mean, it's the graphic fidelity as far as characters and AI and stuff like that on the screen. That's going to be processed through the GPU, CPU, stuff like that, or like your photorealism and everything else and so forth. The Series X will have a slight advantage. But as far as the open world, the number of assets in the world, stuff like that, the PS5 is definitely going to have the performance advantage on that one.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm glad, hip hop, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that's what we're seeing now with PS4, right? Where the exclusives looks way better than anything Microsoft has put out.
Better. Last of Us 2?
Oh God, I'm done. Ridiculous. I'm freaking done with people. They cannot deny.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they cannot deny.
That's crazy.
All these PC Master Race guys, all these freaking Xbox guys, they cannot deny the visual fidelity of The Last of Us. Like, Last of Us 2 is literally giving us a taste of what PS5 is going to give us exclusively, like real rap. You know what I'm saying? Because visually, and I was telling people this, visually, from a visual standpoint, Last of Us 2 looks better than Ghost of Tsushima, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that, because of the setting of the game, right? It's much more darker. You got, you know what I'm saying? It's not as open world. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more gory, like in your face, like
right
wall to the wall type of thing. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima is more like a traditional. It's more like one of those traditional old school samurai films we used to see back in the day. You know, there's dismemberment and stuff, but it's not over the top.
Word, but yo, I do gotta run, y'all. So look, yo, Marlon, once again, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yo, listen, yo, Big Cloud, my dude, one love. I appreciate you. Yo, Viper, it was great talking to you. Thank you for coming on the show. Shout out to the chat. Much love to y'all. God bless, and y'all be safe out there. Yo, Marlon, I'm gonna catch you later, bro. Thank you so much, Superstar. I'm gonna talk to y'all later.
All right, hip hop man. Take care. We'll see you next week. All right, one.
All right, cool. One.
But yeah, you know, like I was telling people, man, you know, that's really what it boils down to at the end of the day, is obviously the architecture, right? And what, you know, the developers can do and everything like that. And we already know that Sony just got the better developers, man. Let's just face it, you know, unless, you know, Microsoft got something in hindsight that we just can't see, or we just don't know about. We know they have acquired a lot of studios that we know of, but at the same time, can these studios really crank out those AAA quality you know, exclusive games that we really want to play, you know what I'm saying, and experience on the Xbox Series X, being that it's a beast of a console. So it's just, I don't know, man. And also I wanted to inject that one of the editors for Game Spot, he said that his main thing, from what he was hearing and everything like that, and his main prediction on price is $500 for the Series X. And granted,
makes sense again, yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense for the tech.
$600 ain't nobody paying for that in this economy. Again,
No.
like, that's why I said $600 is, even though a lot of people really believe it because of the hardware, it's like, nah, it's non-believable at this point. It's got to be 500.
Yeah, no more than 500. And I would say, being that Jim Ryan talked about value, I would say 450. You know what I'm saying? Like 450, 400. I think. Yeah. Like 400, I think, is a little bit too unrealistic. So I would say about 450 for the PS5.
Kind of taking a loss. I mean, hell, Sony. Well, actually, no. Sony didn't take a loss on PS4. They sold at a profit at 4, but
Yeah,
they took a loss
console.
on PS3. Yeah, it was a PS3. They took a massive hit.
$60 a console.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was $60, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Microsoft is not going to go that route and take no huge loss. So yeah, that's fine. They both can take a loss on their systems, just not PS3 loss.
I'm seeing the build of the PS5 with what they have on board. The SSD is going to be the most expensive thing on that thing. You know, I think the build on that system is about $475, $485. They might take a slight loss on it for the initial 1 million sales or so, or 2 million sales, or 6 million sales the first quarter sales. Then they have it out on the market. They might sell it at $450 and then increase it up to $500 after the holidays. You know, but you know, that way they'll make a profit on it, and it'll be same price as Series X. The difference is that PS5 is going to be pushing out games around that time. They're going to have 1 or 2 PlayStation 5 only games at launch. They're going to have PlayStation 5 games coming out every 2 to 3 to 4 months and stuff like that. So by the time that they raise the price up on the system, there's going to be 3, 4, 5 games on the market that's going to be PS5 only.
Wow.
Yeah, that's their main ticker. So really, again, they can sell this at a loss, Marlon, and make their money back tenfold through software sales.
Yeah, and through subscriptions, right? Like Game Pass
and Plus service.
And Plus.
PS Now is not gonna. It's opposite, or not PlayStation Now. PlayStation Plus is still requirement for online, so they're gonna be fine in terms of money. They can take a loss.
Yeah.
Now, what's really going to hammer if Sony does this? What's really going to hammer the online play and the PS Now and everything else is buying the services and stuff like that, and then as an incentive with the console, put in like a 3-month or a 6-month subscription in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Rice Eater with the $2. Yeah. Rice Eater with the $2 says there is no reason for Sony to sell below the Xbox Series X. And here's where the uppercut is going to come in my opinion, where Microsoft think they're going to have the edge on Sony is with that cheaper Xbox, right? Because everybody's been talking about that. I know a lot of Xbox centric channels been saying that, right? Yeah. That Sony needs to,
I talked to a few of them. The thing about that too, they thought it was going to be shown earlier.
Yeah.
The thing about it though, they believe COVID-19, and I honestly believe that too, put a big like halt in the plans for that game or for that console launching.
Yeah.
And if we don't get any information for Lockhart in July at this show, then it's safe to say that system ain't going to come until after Series X launches, and that's more likely going to be like the revision. Remember how we had the 360 Slim?
Yeah, 360 Slim. Yeah.
It's going to be like their Series X Slim down the road. They're just going to push like that because, again...
Well, from a marketing perspective, you got to think about it like this. Okay, if they do make a Lockhart, which they will, but if they do make a Lockhart, and they release it with the Xbox Series X, so we got, and then you got PS5 on the market. PS5 and Series X are both $500. You got the Lockhart for $300. All right, how are they going to sell the Series X?
Exactly.
See, there you go. That's another thing.
There's a cheaper alternative. Okay, sure, but here's the thing: Sony's going to have a cheaper alternative because Sony's not going to be on the same prices as Series X. They're going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
And so, if you're going to go, hey, this is our cheaper option, and PS5 is pushing out, better looking games than that, a lot of people are going to be like, well, what about the Series X then? And that's the issue with Xbox One X. Xbox One X was hyped the hell up through marketing and PR and everything, and then we got it. It literally felt like it died within 4 or 5 months on the market.
Literally. Yeah.
It felt like that. It literally felt like that because there was just nothing really taken advantage of. They were talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider, of all games, Rise of the Tomb Raider, trying to push the game, the console. And I'm like, well, why are we going back to old titles like this instead of the newer ones? You would think they would have like a stealth announcement, like Scalebound 2, like, yeah, it was canceled, but we canceled it for this console, type of thing. They didn't do nothing.
Wow.
And that's the issue. So they need some real heavy hitters and heavy sellers. Halo, again, people say Halo is their go-to. That's going to be the game. I do believe that's the game they're going to market the hell out of. But as far as that being the game to change the deal, just to set the standard, nah, we need more than Halo.
Real talk, and that's what. Yeah, and that's what you hear a lot of people been saying is that Halo is going to be the thing that's going to boost the Series X past the PS5. It's going to outsell the PS5 at launch because Sony does not have a proper exclusive to go up against Halo Infinite, and that is not true. We don't know what Sony got up their sleeve. We know that Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a possible launch window game, right? And we know that we know about Godfall, right? And apparently Ratchet and Clank is supposed to be happening, and then we got Demon Souls, right? The remake. So it's just like you can't just say, "Oh, Halo Infinite." Look at the install base and look at how much sold units they had with Halo 5. I'm like, bro, like Halo is not the same.
It's not fair, to be honest with you. If I was to be honest completely honest about this whole situation with Halo, it's kind of unfair on Halo if you think about it, bro. Because Halo's got this unnecessary pressure on it.
Yeah.
Unnecessary pressure, It doesn't need this amount of pressure on it. It should be fine as is. But nah, they're like, nah, this is it. This is the game that we're going to use. It's like, it should not be like that. It should be more than just that. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. That was the issue with 360 at the end.
Exactly. And that's why I'm always going to keep saying that. Now, here's the part that a lot of people is actually sleeping on here is that the fact that Epic had to rewrite the source code for the Unreal Engine to keep up with the SSD, bro. That is crazy.
that makes sense again what they're doing and how they're able to how fast this system is and efficient. Like I said before, games again, a lot of games on PS5 and the way they're doing, especially the first party, are not going to be possible on Series X. Just the fact they can't handle the amount of data that's on screen. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Graphical fidelity is one thing, performance is another. That's what Sony went strictly for, performance.
Yeah.
It's fast, efficient, and they're gonna go with a cheaper price tag. That's what they're doing. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
So when you got like, you remember that list of games? I don't know if you did. I think you did a stream on it, right? It was like the list of games, like 35 games for PS5 they were talking about.
Yeah.
Do you remember the detailed list of them where they were like, they were showing off the resolution? They were saying they were detailing the resolution and frame rate. What did you see as a common thing? Yeah. What did you see as a common thing for PS5 games, especially in the third-party category? You saw 4K 60.
Yep.
For a lot of these games.
Same.
Even Dying Light 2
God.
said 4K 60.
Wow. That is
This
crazy.
system is capable, and people are sleeping on it. They're like, "Oh, well, we got 12 T-flops. We got a pretty good."
I don't want to hear that.
Look,
I don't want to hear
we
that.
got 12 T-flops. But you know, we got games that we've been hyped for since the first ones that we got this gen. Spider-Man 2. As soon as we see a Venom symbiote, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Real talk. It's gonna happen,
Ain't
bro.
nobody talking about it. Nothing.
Of course not. Of course not.
Ain't
All
nobody
they
talking
keep talking about is 12 T-flops. Like that's and Viper just broke it down earlier with hip hop that bro, like that you're not gonna get all of that 12. Like it's gonna be like 10 something. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like they need to stop. That's the only thing that they got against the PS5. And the SSD is not really all that. How's that gonna help with game development? I'm like, y'all need to go to game development school to understand how many developers has been wanting SSD, right, for years, and now we finally got SSD now in these consoles, and developers are like, oh, thank God we got SSD now. Now we can able to do a lot more than what we could do with the PS4 and the Xbox One. Look, the Halo co-creator even
more
said
heavy working systems making crazy jet engine noises.
yeah, right? Yeah.
No more of
See,
that.
what I'm going off of is looking at the hardware itself for the Xbox X. I'm looking at what developers are saying and so forth, like the Corvus devs, when they sit there and said, you can have all the T-flops, but when the OS and the firmware doesn't allow you to use it, it's of no use. So, that was talking, their presentation was on Xbox Series X, and the question was, what about the difference in T-flops? And he was talking about, well, you can have these extra T-flops over here, but, that was a dig at Xbox, because they're saying, well, the OS and the firmware can't utilize the whole 12 T-flops in the system. And the reason behind that is because the GPU is being split up to do too many tasks. You're doing the geometry on chip. Then you got the ray trace audio on chip. Then you got the ray trace lighting in game. Then you've got the variable rate shading on chip. Stuff like that. So when you got all that going through there, and then you have then you're rehashing the old OS on new hardware, then you're running into issues with the OS recognizing the new hardware and utilizing it correctly. So they're having to revise. So they have to revise the OS, and you got all these different bottleneck problems that you have with the Xbox Series X, and that's what's going to diminish its power.
See,
and it's got, as I keep saying, the Xbox Series X has 12.1 teraflops of power. It doesn't say it has 12.1 teraflops of graphics. There's a difference there.
Exactly. Please tell them, because they're so naive to the fact that, it's 12 T-flop of graphics. Come on, man.
Brittany see the comments we get. Like she be quiet in the chat, but she quick. She'll
put you down real quick because she knows what she's talking about, man. And this is why I tell people, talk to people who knows what the heck they're talking about. She used to be a dev. She knows how these systems work and the tech behind the systems, not just some fanboy that's just saying, it's 12 T-flops of power and graphics, and it's gonna, and look at that 10.
Just
You know
don't
what
ever
the
ask me to
Unreal
port a game
Engine
to.
dev said though? You remember he said that like the photo realism. I think that's what he said when he was
Yeah.
talking to Jeff.
Yeah.
The photo realism and how they're doing it with the games could like transition into like shows and stuff like that. Remember he was saying that with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Again, I think they're hinting that again how seamless it is. Again, like where you're going to see realistic like cloth. Realistic like props from actual movies, stuff like that in here. That'd be I'm hyped because I'm already hyped for the next Star Wars game.
Oh my
I want
god,
to see
it's
how
gonna be
well that
crazy.
makes. I was saying that's going to be fire. So again, imagine just making the props and just put in this like able to just digitally put that in there without having to actually go back to the drawing board type of thing. That's cool.
Man,
More than likely, they're just going to Disney. Since they're licensed through Disney, whoever's doing the game is going to be licensed through Disney anyway, or Disney's going to make it themselves.
Yeah.
So they can just go straight to their prop studio.
Exactly. That is so cool. Because remember Disney, I don't know if you know, Marlon, Disney, you can actually, which is pretty dope. You can actually do this at Disney World. If you go to Disney World, you can build a lightsaber. They have like this lightsaber builder place.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can have custom lightsabers, and like how it works, they've done the lightsabers pretty dope, where you can buy, well, you can't really buy, but it's like you go in there, you have the little crystals that turn the lightsaber a different color.
Yeah.
You can just randomly pick a crystal out of like a selection of crystals, and they can range from like yellow, white, red, blue, green,
Purple.
and purple. And there was also a black lightsaber crystal in there. However, it doesn't turn the lightsaber black; it turns it red. But they have all these crystals in there, and you can build your lightsaber and stuff like that. I really want to see just how well they do this. It's gonna be fire, man.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be lit.
I've been quiet for a reason, but trust me, I have not been slid. I know what we're getting. I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely legendary. All right, guys, this wraps up episode 2 of the MGN podcast. It was lit. I really enjoyed myself, and I'm gonna have Ryan do his closeout here real quick, and then we're gonna get with Messina, and then we're gonna wrap things up. All right, Ryan, man, go ahead with your outro, bro. Let them know.
Yeah, you already know, man. This episode 2, this show was fire. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Go ahead and hit that like button for homie Marlon here. Glad everybody likes the layout. Awesome. And yeah, make sure you guys follow me on at Big Cloud Gaming on Twitter and at YouTube at Big Cloud Gaming as well. See you guys next week. I guess it's 2:30. It's new time.
Yes, 2:30. Yes.
All right, so see you guys next week, 2:30. I'll be Blush. I'll be Easy. Shout out to Hip Hop Gamer, Craig Harris. And yeah, see you guys. Oh yeah, nice talking to Brittany. Finally get to talk to Brittany. She be acting like she's shy of the mic.
I know, right?
Shout out to her though. She knocked it out the park. So good talking to you officially.
There's one thing about being retired. I just try to stay back.
No, you still try to stay back. No, please don't stay back. We would love to have you on the podcast next week. So if you don't mind, if just clear your schedule for 2:30, we would love to have you on the panel.
Okay.
All right. So she said, okay.
She's ready.
She's ready. But thank you guys so much, man. I really do appreciate all of you guys for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button, man. And we'll see you next week at 2:30 p.m. All right. Peace, gang. We out here. Love you guys, man.
Bye, everyone.